T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kush's Corner here on the Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world. Tonight, I'm joined by Chris Foley. We have a whole lot to get into, some upbeat topics like scrub pythons, elapid keeping, croc monitor breeding, and more. And then some a little more difficult topics, but very important ones nonetheless, that of dealing with loss and adversity in herpetoculture and how to get through it on the other side. So a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight. But before we get started, as always, USARC. So USARC is the organization that is fighting for our rights to keep our reptiles, to run our reptile businesses, to live this lifestyle. Check out usarc.org for all of the information you need to know about the organization. usarc.org is also where you can find updates on new legislation that has been introduced either at local levels or at the federal level, as well as updates on the progress of any pieces of legislation. usarc.org is also where you can become a member of the organization. As a community, we have strength in numbers, and the more people that are behind the cause, the better. And here we are. Thank you for everybody who is tuned in live. If you are here on YouTube and are not already, please subscribe to the channel. A new podcast drops every single day of the week here on the Trap Talk Reptile Network from some of the best hosts in the game, talking about a wide variety of subjects from within the reptile industry. We are also on the audio platforms, be that Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts from, we are available. A follow on any of those platforms, a 5-star review would be most appreciated. With all of that housekeeping out of the way, let's get Chris onto the show. What's going on, Chris? Thanks for being here, man.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Man, when I was first starting the podcast, you were one of the people that I'm like, as much as I might want to do a podcast with Chris, I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to. But here we are nonetheless.
Because you didn't think that I would do it, or because you thought I'd cause problems?
No, I didn't think you'd do it. I didn't think you would do it. But hey, I mean, things play out in interesting ways, and here we are.
Hey, if I would do it for Owen, you can get one out of me.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah. All right. I'll go with that. But yeah, man, thank you for being with me tonight. It was, obviously fun hanging out in Daytona. If anyone saw any of the pictures and the shenanigans from that weekend, that was a lot of fun, man. I really I haven't had so much fun over a week in such a long time.
Dude, it was really needed. I don't even think I would have done this show if we didn't go to Daytona. I had just become an introvert, a hermit. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Some of the animal stuff that had happened, I was just kind of to myself. So it was cool just seeing everybody and doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, it really is amazing how that can kind of relight that fire a little bit, being at a show, being around old friends, and just around that environment. I don't know. I think especially a show like Daytona, where it brings in people from all over the country. I feel really Daytona and Tinley are the only two shows that have that real pull where no matter where you are in the US, that's a destination you're going to try to hit.
The beach gets me though. I don't know if I'll make the trip to Tinley or not, but Daytona I'll stick to. Right.
I mean, there's a lot more fun stuff to do surrounding the show in Daytona than Tinley, that's for sure. I mean, obviously, you gotta go to the city up in Tinley, but all the traffic and whatnot, it's kind of a pain in the ass. And neither show is in a very particularly nice weather time of the year in Chicago. So it's not like you have Chicago summer to go hang out in after the show. So, but yeah, man. So I guess before we really get started on much, for anybody who's listening or watching who's not real familiar with you, kind of give us a little bit of a rundown of your life and times in herpetoculture.
Man, it's been kind of all over the place. So like, I've probably kept now for 25, 26 years. I was always kind of that guy that had a little bit of everything and couldn't totally find their footing. And then I think the scrub pythons did it for me, with David. We did that for a long time. Like it feels kind of weird that like you are inviting the Amethistinaproject onto the show when you are the scrub guy. But that really anchored me for a long time. I think it's honestly, is that kind of what bridged how you and I met, other than caging?
It was actually green anacondas of all things.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah. Shockingly enough, of all things, a flash in the pan species for me. But yeah, that was what it was.
And then when you knocked the wind out of my sails in scrub keeping, I moved on to Varanids and did that for a long time. I'm kind of down on that now. I think at one point I had up to like 40 or 50 monitors, but in that process was kind of like the greatest accomplishment that I've ever had when I got to produce the croc monitors.
Yeah,
got to do it twice. I still have that pair. I'll try it again sometime, but life is just kind of being life. Moving out of Indiana down to South Carolina, I don't have quite as much space, but to me that's been cool because I'm just kind of focused on like what I enjoy and not doing anything big. And me being the unconventional and inconvenient person that I am, I chose that my joy is a lapid keeping while I am a serial mover. So that's made life interesting. But I got my kings, I got my mambas, I got my crocs, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like you said, you've always kind of maintained an eclectic collection. If you had to throw a rough guess out there, how many species have you had in your hands over the years?
Oh God, you should have prepped me with that one.
I'm putting you on the spot. I mean, at least a couple hundred, maybe.
I was gonna say it's got to be a couple hundred, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, that's almost an inconceivable figure. Like to have to learn about all like that many different animals. And, obviously when it comes to certain groups, care is relatively similar throughout, but still like the balancing act of that is something that most people probably never really get to experience.
It is. And it's funny, I think because of that balancing act is kind of maybe why I shorted myself on some successes with production or ever actually making money in the hobby or anything like that. And I struggled with that for a while, but then I look back and say like literally what you just said, like hundreds of species, like those are just experiences that I don't care about the loss of money. I don't care about the lack of success. Like I just had a really damn good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's an important kind of mindset to speak about publicly because, a lot of people will emphasize this is, how many I produced this year and how much money I made and what I profited. And it's like, that's not everybody's priority. And you don't have to approach the hobby that way. So for people to be out there talking about just having an eclectic group of animals and enjoying it for its own sake, like that's a very realistic path that can be taken within the hobby.
I mean, I feel like I'm criticizing your life right now a little bit when I say this, but I remember the days of like, oh, am I going to get this clutch? Is this pair going to go? Like, I need this to happen. Like, this is whether it was for eventual money to keep upholding the hobby, whether it was keeping up with my social media or the progress I'm making with the species. Like that stuff became like sometimes more stress than fun. And I've never been in your position where I was like counting on that for a living. So like, I don't even know how you stomach that sometimes. And for me, after, a couple decades of it, man, I just love not caring.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. It's, for me, I think like I'm at the point where like going into knowing that this was going to be my full time, it was never like, all right, I'm going to be full time and then it's going to be that way for the rest of my life. It was for me, kind of a goal that I had since a kid, and I'm like, I got to at least cross this off to some degree. But man, I mean, the sleepless nights are real. They're very real. And I think though, ultimately, like the trade-off or the thought process is like, okay, I'm super stressed about money at times because reptile sales are cyclical and whatnot, but like I have full control of my schedule and I can travel when I want and I this and that, and like I'm at a point in my life without responsibility, many responsibilities. So like,
So like you're also living the dream. Like if you can balance the stress of it, it's not all glorious, but
oh no, for sure.
It met a lifelong goal and created opportunity to have that lifestyle. Like,
oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, the main downside is like you're kind of living bare bones otherwise, but still every single day can be taking care of your animals and focusing on breeding projects and being able to actually, or not really being able to, being forced to spend the amount of time you need to on like the social media stuff and whatnot. So yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, and it's probably not even for me at every stage of my life, but it's fun, and I'm glad that I was able to make it work. But a lot of things had to come together for it to happen.
I think you also realized that all of your money pretty much goes to animals anyway, so you didn't have to get that much cheaper than you had to before.
No, yeah, 100%. I just had to stop spending money on freaking animals, and yeah, but honestly, like I don't really have that impulse much anymore, so which is nice. Like,
it's funny, like Daytona is the first time where I was not really tempted to walk out with anything. Like, I saw a lot of really cool stuff, but like I just didn't get that itch because I'm just like at peace.
Because there were no Jameson's Mambas at Daytona.
There wasn't. I looked.
Yeah, every single table. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say like when you reach that point, but I think for me, like it was just understanding that there's a few things that I work with that like I make me significantly happier than everything else that I work with and have worked with. And I think that similarly to you, like having experienced so many different kinds of reptiles is kind of the only way you can really figure that out. Just like when I hatch out scrubs or spilotes or whatever, it's like I enjoy this a whole lot more than I enjoy hatching out tree monitors, for example. And that's obviously just my experience, but like to me that was a sign that like that's what I should really be kind of doubling down and focusing on, especially because I'm trying to make a business model out of it and kind of cutting excess expenses that aren't generating revenue. It's like it sucks to kind of approach it that way, but then at the same time, if you're enjoying it more after the fact, then it's like, what's really the problem?
It's kind of cool though. I don't know if you get like this experience with Brooke at home. But I say I wasn't tempted to come home with anything, but we actually did. And it was two things that like I would never keep. I don't even understand quite what they are, how to care for them. Like we came back with some bright blue anole thing from the auction and some kind of gidgee skink. And they're both like super, super cool.
Yeah.
I would never keep them. So the fact that Jade does and Jade's passionate about them and that makes her happy, like it's really cool to watch her engage with them and then to kind of like experience something neat that I would have never otherwise invested my time or money into.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You see that like with those rhino iguanas and stuff that she has all over the place. Like I think they're really cool, but I don't think you or I would have ever owned one.
Right. Oh no, 1,000%. Yeah. Like, I say on here from time to time, like I don't have any lizards and whatnot, but there are lizards that are in the house. They're just not my lizards. So I still get my lizard fix, and especially with the rhino iguanas, they're a freaking handful, like in a good way. They're they have enough personality for like 50 lizards and 2 lizard bodies. But yeah, I know that makes it a lot more fun. And especially, you know, I can just look at the animals, experience them, and then not be like responsible for their care unless I'm here and Brooke's not.
Like, obviously it's different, but that was like, I think it was just always the unsaid reality with the two of us, is like that was my favorite part of like us sharing space.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was going to say that as well.
Like,
Yeah, you know, back in Indy, like all the locality water monitors and stuff like that, and you know, some of the weird, obscure colubrids, stuff that I really enjoy and I'm a fan of, but for one reason or another, just like is not in my plans
that's
of
how I thought about like the scrubs. Like I was done with them, but having them there was just like, is awesome.
Yeah. No,
I
yeah.
still got Hannibal though.
You do?
Yeah, I got Hannibal, and I still have that female that I got from you at the end.
Okay. Hell yeah. I mean, you trying them?
I need to. I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, you got her to go more than once, right?
Just once. I only
Because
got
they
her to go.
decided to go, I think, twice. So there's no reason they shouldn't. I just haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what it was is she went, I gave her the following year off, and then the next year was the move when you got her. So I really only tried her once, and that was the year I got the clutch. It was a small clutch. It was mostly infertile, but you know, still clutch nonetheless. So
Oh, and I guess the year following that was the year that I moved. So maybe there is a reason I didn't try. I thought I was just somewhere else.
so now this year you have no excuse.
Pretty much.
But, man, you know, I should have had a picture of Hannibal ready to go. Since we're on the topic, let's talk about that animal. I mean, one of what, maybe less than a handful of like adult, because he's F2, right?
Yeah.
Are there other adult F2s out there? I think the one female that I still have, the Rain Daughter's F2, maybe. But actually, no, she's not. She's F1. I think it was Rain do a wild caught. So, like, is Hannibal maybe one of the only F2 adult Barnecks out there, or scrubs?
Yeah, maybe.
And did David produce him?
No, Yasser did.
Did okay.
And he's like, man, he's like 25 years old.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
That's truly insane. Yeah, you know, it really kind of puts into perspective the longevity potential of the snakes. And you know, he's a big boy too. Like that animal, you know, has some decent size on him.
he's no joke.
Yeah.
You know what's even crazier? I still have the Tannenbar.
That one?
She's got to be like 35 years old.
The huge one.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to lose her for a minute because she went like a season without eating, and she's 30 years old. Like I just keep waiting for the time to come.
Wow.
But it didn't. She's back to nailing food. She's living life. I'm not ever going to try to breed her again.
Yeah.
That's why I can't remember if I sent you that male back or if I just sold him to somebody, but I'm not going to. She's just my pet forever.
Yeah, sure. No, that makes sense. Especially an animal that's like, at that point, it's almost, you know, like the task is just see how old this snake can be.
Right.
Especially for a wild caught. Or is she wild caught or is she captive bred?
Yeah, she's wild. Yeah, we're just guessing. We're just guessing at her age, but I think that Dave Prada brought her in like in the 90s.
That's insane.
And I think she's probably had 7 or 8 clutches in her life. I had 2 of them.
No shit. That many?
But he had bred her a few times too, back when nobody really cared if you bred scrub pythons. Like,
yeah, that's such an anomaly because it seems, at least to me, from what I've seen in my own collection and others, that these wild caught females, they maybe have a couple clutches in them. Like, I mean, maybe you guys had different experience, but I don't think I've gotten more than 2 clutches from a wild caught female.
No, I kind of agree, but also remember like and I thought maybe it was related to the male, but I wonder if it's also just the old female. Remember all those neurological issues I had with both clutches of babies?
Yeah.
None of them are alive now.
Yeah.
And I thought it was because of that male, because he had like that little kind of tick. But I wonder if that's also just
Yeah, I mean, was that male captive bred or was he wild caught?
He's wild caught too.
Okay.
He was younger, but
yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like, and this probably is going off of a really small sample size, that some of these like congenital issues with tandem bars might be a little bit like kind of not common, but because I think I've heard of more than just you having issues similar to that.
That guy Eric that bred him, he had something similar to that too. I thought I heard.
Yeah, so I always wondered if your male and one of his were related.
And I found out the classic way that I found out everything. I went to go message him. Come to find out, he was messaging me all through the end of 2024, and I was just ignoring him. I'm such an asshole on Messenger.
Yeah, anyone out there, if Chris ignores your messages, you're definitely not alone. You're not the only one being ignored. So that is for damn sure. So I guess since we're on the topic, I mean, over the years, how many scrub clutches did you either personally produce or were a part of? Because you guys had quite the run.
Yeah, so I got 4 of my own. I would say, I guess collectively between the two of us, we were like 3 years, maybe close to 25 between both of us. And where are you at? Because you're gonna single-handedly pass both of us.
So I didn't ask the question but I like to guide it here. I did actually count recently. I was talking with Alex about it, and I just in my head was like, So I've had babies from 16 clutches, and I've had 26 females lay.
Dude, I don't really care what your numbers are. The fact that you got the hounds and the arus, as far as I'm concerned, you can retire.
Yeah, this year was a rough one, and I think I know what I did wrong potentially, but I only had 4 good clutches.
Now you just need the Malucans on there, and you're done.
Man, those things.
You probably want tandem bars or whatever, but as far as I was concerned, they bred like carpet pythons did compared to barnecks. So
yeah, so you remember that the wild caught female I got from Fascination, like near the end of Indy? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jade, no retiring before Beox. That's for damn sure. She's the only adult that I have right now, and I just think that she hasn't really fully settled. But I think this year she looks like a captive python now, and she's not like
right now.
2.1.
Okay,
that's it. And literally like one of the males is on loan from a friend, and it did that classic Beoc, like it came in, 8 rats, great, awesome, and then all of a sudden just like, no, not to do the rats anymore. I'm like, okay, here's a mouse. Oh, sick, I'll take that mouse and I'll eat mice for a while. And then all of a sudden, no, fuck your mice. All right, here's a chick. Took the chick, ate chicks for a while, and then didn't eat for 7 months. Intermittently tried a little bit of everything and was like, well, all right, I think you might be going the way of every Beoc before you. And then just one day eats a day-old quail. And then eats 2 day-old quail the next time.
Jesus.
So, yeah. Luckily, my other pair of Beocs are really solid. My female, she just got hit the large rat threshold. And she cycled last year. Like, I didn't even expect her to. And all of a sudden, I'm cleaning her. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Bump, 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 bump. I'm like, oh, shit. And the male is kind of small and was also on like a 6-month hunger strike at the time. So I'm like, I literally got nothing to lose. I threw him in. I didn't see any activity, maybe a little tongue flicking, but whatever happened, he ate the next try and has not missed a meal since.
Weird.
Yeah, and like he's like on medium rats now, probably closing in on 7 feet. So, they're solidly adult now. So I think if I've ever had a chance, it's this year. I think that was the one that you got from Cam, that male that was kind of bigger and like kind of like brighter male. Yeah. So he's still kicking. He's up to my left right here. So
I remember and I don't know what logic I was using or the numbers anymore, but I remember like when Jade and I were first dating, I remember laying this thing out to her where like my goal was to have like all of the localities and all of the species bred by 2026.
Okay.
And I don't know what made that number.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like you're not far from that trajectory. I'm not saying getting it all done by 2026,
Yeah.
but this was based on our first clutches being in like 16, 17,
Sure.
and you weren't quite there yet. So in that 10-year span, like you will exceed that.
So I think the only thing that will make sure that absolutely does not happen is the Key Island. Because I still have just the Key Island and I'm not going to hybridize them.
Yeah, when I had that conversation, I didn't know that Key Island existed, and there's always going to be some weird thing that pops up that like do you have RFox still? Do we even know if RFox were a real thing?
I don't have any of those. But like, yeah, exactly. So, but
because at the time we had made some really like standardized, uneducated observations of what the localities were.
Right.
You know, like until you bred a barneck and produced a bunch of Kofi owls out of it. So like,
yeah, he's right down here. We call him the Jofi owl. Shout out to Patrick for that name. Yeah. So what I got obviously the keys. I haven't actually produced like true Maruki Southerns yet. So
because I had the Highlands.
Yeah, the Highlands and like the het patternless, like kind of mid-range, whatever. According to Natush, the patternless doesn't exist in Maruki. So technically I still have those. Biox, obviously, Tannenbars, Clastos.
Do you still have that Maruki that we had to do the surgery on?
The egg-bound girl? No, so she's the one that I got the like het patternless clutch from. But she's one of the girls that went egg bound last year. So she got 8 of them out and had 10 stuck in her. And she was the first one to go egg bound, but that was her second time with egg binding. So I didn't really think much of it. She just, they were just stuck in there for a while. One day I had her out and I was like, fuck it, let's see what happens. And they just started to move one by one. I popped them all out. But I ended up sending her to Bia, just kind of as like a retired breeder. And I think he ended up sending her to like an educational center or something like that. So she's on display somewhere, so I'm cool with that. But yeah, I was
in Michigan.
Yeah.
I can't believe he sold that little Malukan. I don't care about that baby.
For fucking real. Yeah. But I mean, but knowing him, it was coming eventually. That dude doesn't hold on to shit for very long to save his life. So,
but I thought he was going to hold that one because that was like a lifer for him. He always talked about.
Yeah,
so
he was always trying to lowball trade me for
fuck that baby. You go sell something else. Sell the baby.
For real. Yeah, that's the Chris Foley method. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So getting close. I mean, I don't know. I like this year to cross off the Helms was like, holy shit, I can't believe this finally happened. The Arus was like, it was a holy shit, but like finally, because that female had been playing games with me for 4 years. And then, I mean, I guess good of a time as ever. I haven't talked about it publicly, but I did right after the second Halmahera clutch hatch out my first F2 Barnecks. So
sweet.
So those are a thing now. And what makes them even cooler is that the sire side was the rain line, and then the dam side was from that like almost solid black Barneck. So
nice.
Yeah. And then so like four real solid babies from the clutch, and it's 1.3. So it's like cool. I don't know, small clutch, but like perfect ratio. The babies are huge. And I was like dreading. I'm like, does this mean that I'm male heavy? Because that like big Maruki-ish female also gave me giant ass babies, and literally the entire clutch was male. So I was like dreading sexing them, but I definitely lucked out on those. So able to keep all of them and justify it as well.
Hell yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, so like throughout the the time when you guys were breeding the scrubs, what were all of the different types that you guys hit on at one point or another?
Let's see. So I guess perhaps we didn't. No, I guess we did. I was going to say perhaps we didn't get Southerns either because the sire to most of them was that one that was semi-patternless.
Right, that kind of Highlandy whatever or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I guess we did because remember that that really big female that we had from the Kentucky Zoo that we were going to send to you for free because we weren't sure if she was okay, and then we lost her before.
Yeah.
That was a legit Southern.
Yeah. I ended up getting 2 babies out of that. I don't have them anymore, but with Jacob Huggins, he has one of them, and she's like an adult now. So, or actually, you know what? No, I take it back. Those were the babies that Dennis produced. I don't think I ever actually got anything from that female, unless she's the one who was sired by that Highlandish male from Patrick. But I don't even think it was. Do you recall?
Yeah, I can't. I don't think that one was. I think the one that one sired was. I can't remember if we sent this female to you too. She had she had a really old scar on her neck, and it gave her like a slight kink. She was still functional. She was fine.
Yeah.
And I think that one produced from that male. I don't even know if we had babies by the time you got the group. If you got any of those,
I don't think so. No, I don't think I got any of those. Okay, cool. So Southerns, obviously a handful of Barnett clutches over the years.
Yeah, and then I don't know why David was so hard on calling that female that I have from you of Maniquari with that heavy pattern. I still don't understand it.
Yeah. Because her babies were all very heavily patterned.
Yeah. So I don't totally get that, but to me the coolest things I think was anything that came from that dark female.
Yeah.
My F3 that makes me cry still, but
yeah,
that was my Tannenbar baby. Hannibal.
Wait, what? Yeah. Hannibal baby. So yeah, there was something weird about that clutch, right? Was it only one good egg or just the one surviving baby?
So it was Hannibal to a Rainline F2 female, and I bred them at my house. And I don't know about you. I don't know if I've ever even asked this, but like most things that we bred, you could count that pre-lay shed to eggs like literally to the day for most of them. Right? You're like pretty much almost always at that 30-day mark or very close.
Yeah, for the good clutches, the Halmaheras, interestingly enough, were both at 34 for whatever that's worth. And then the clutches that had issues came before 30. So like on 20, like I had a third female Halmahera slug out on me this year. She did that on day like 26. So
I went away for a couple of days for work. So I was with Regal, with the anticipation that I was going to be back for like that 30-day whatever. And she laid them somewhere around like day 23, 24. And she laid them in bone dry moss. And by the time I got home, they were just dented. They were gross. She kicked a bunch of them out. She was trying to wrap up ones that looked like garbage. And I'm like, we gotta try. I'm like, this is a special clutch. Like I gotta, and we just got lucky. And that one egg made it. And I was worried, like when you see something like that, like normally when something does make it, like you have some concerns that it's stunted or not very strong or whatever. Sure. But that animal was perfect. It was very strong. Like we just lost it because of that heat incident, but everything else was was fine. But ironically, which I don't know that we go down this rabbit hole, but that F2 mom died of cancer.
Yeah, that might be one of the rabbit holes to avoid for tonight, unless you want to, because that might bring up more harm than good. But yeah, no, it's yeah. Anyway, at least if anything, though, that animal showed just the potential that line breeding with Barnecks really has. I don't know if I've ever seen a gold quite like that. And this might hurt to like reminisce like that, but nonetheless, I'm not sure if I've seen gold like on that snake.
Yeah.
So especially, I mean, the lineage behind it as well would indicate an animal to look the way that snake did. Here, you know what? For the sake of it, I'm gonna do a quick audible, the Amethistinaproject, and see if I can pull this snake up.
Under
there. Yeah, look away if you need to, Chris.
My page is pretty empty because a lot of things were uncollabed from it.
Well, it was easy to find. I'll say that this was definitely easy to find this animal. So, okay. And I'll tell anyone who's watching who might have their doubts that animal is true to the color of that photo. There's no editing, nothing going on there. Just crisp, clean pattern that really. I love when the gold is almost a little bit on the orange side, as opposed to like kind of like a more pale gold side. And but yeah, that animal to me is just like, it really just shows that going forward, there's a lot of really amazing potential with with captive bred scrubs or Barnecks in particular.
And I don't know what I would have done with her, and inevitably based on the limited scrubs that I had left.
Yeah.
Honestly, I probably would have talked to you to see if maybe you had something with an ideal pattern to pair her to. But if not, I think I would have paired her back to Hannibal to see if I could have got his bands.
This is the same animal. Younger. Yeah. So, I mean, almost to the point where it's like, what more could you really ask for in a Barneck scrub than that? Yeah, really. And as Patrick says in this comment here from 179 weeks ago, showing the granddad phenotype, very much so. Is that picture of Rain's got to be on the page somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, it's got to be in there.
Right? For anyone who's on the audio, this would be a good time to switch over to video, at least just to see these few individuals. Where is it?
Oh man,
there's dad of my F2s right there.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, as a baby.
That's mom to the F3.
Oh, it hurts my heart to look at that picture.
Right?
Oh, man.
That snake was still my phone background until yesterday, or a couple of days ago, when I decided I couldn't look at it anymore.
Yeah, I could understand why. I mean, shit. Yeah, but again, just if anything, it just shows us what is possible going forward. Man, this has got to be on here somewhere. I'm very intent on finding this. I have the picture on my phone too, but much easier. Another picture of that's actually the female from the clutch. That's dad of my F2s right there as a little baby, or as a yearling. All right, Rain, let's show up. We gotta be getting there. Watch, I just like missed it at the top of the page. This isn't. That's not rain, right?
That's that female still.
That's wow.
There
Here we go. Hey, we did it. So yeah, I mean this snake right here. I feel like I'm biased because I love my snake so much, but probably to just give credit where credit's due to this day, probably the best looking barneck that's ever lived right there.
It's crazy to me because we can have this talk of like what we can accomplish with line breeding, but then to see that there's an animal from like over 2 decades ago that we still haven't been able to replicate. Like, what the?
Yeah, well,
you've got to be close with some of that because I've seen some really weird babies from you that I just can't wait to see what. Yeah,
different though. So I have one female in particular who I think I know which one you're talking about from the clutch I produced last year, or one of them, my best clutch from last year, and she has like a very similar color to Rain, but the pattern is totally different. It's very reduced, but in a different way. She has like hollow bands. I'm not even fully sure how to describe them, but like near her mid body, literally like the banding just gets hollowed out. I feel like I've said this on here before, but reminds me a lot of the project that Kyle has done with his Franklin Mountain banded rock rattlesnakes, where the pattern on those animals is essentially hollowed out. I'm not going to find it live. But as far as just like that crisp, and I honestly, what I will say about the F2s that I just hashed out, a couple of them have that like spaced out but very high contrast thin banding like Rain has, where he's a defined pattern animal, but the pattern itself isn't very thick. And a couple of what would be his great grandchildren have a reminiscent pattern, especially like in the first third of their body.
Rain was big.
I remember you telling me about it.
Rain was like the size of that Kofi owl.
Yeah. You've told me that, and then TJ has verified that as well. I mean,
I always forget the name of that asshole that ended up with him last, but I think that he died there, and that guy would just never admit it.
Yeah. The history of scrub pythons is definitely it's a very bittersweet history for a lot of different reasons up until now, I guess. For as many amazing animals have been produced in like probably the 25 to 30 year history of scrub breeding at this point. Would you say that's a good number?
Where are any of them?
Right. I mean, I have that big adult Prada female, and then
that one from what's his name? It was on loan and then you bought it.
Yeah, from Theron, and then Rob Christian has Prada animals as well. I think that's it. Like, that sucks, because that wasn't always the case. Like, man, that the Rain line.
Ross had an F2 female adult.
Okay, from you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if you've heard anything about that. Mike Cross we think he's alive.
Okay. type shit. Yeah, I can't say I have anything to say about that. I'm unaware. I probably would have asked you if that ever came up. But I mean, I guess at this point now, I don't want to say like we don't need to be worried about it anymore, but I think the foothold of scrubs and herpetoculture is probably too strong for it to slip again.
Yeah, I think so.
Because last year there were just shy of 20 clutches in the U.S. in 2024 of assorted scrub pythons.
Which it's really, that's wild.
It's absolutely
kind of the perfect timing because the source of wild caught stuff is really not that great anymore.
No, it definitely. I mean, at this point, it's really
No Cam, no Florida people, so we're counting on Dan and
and
Dragna and
Calzu every now and then.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, really, they're just coming through California. Yeah, like the fact that like right now you can go on the MORPH market, and while granted
38 Southerns,
well, that's another topic, but you know, for the like 20 whatever scrubs that are listed on there, I think you know probably more than half of them are captive bred, which is crazy. And not only that, captive bred animals at for certain localities, kind of like entry level affordable pricing. So like if you're a new scrub keeper and you know you like the Moluccans, you like the high end bar necks, but you don't have at this point $2 to $4 grand to drop on an individual, you can get a really nice quality captive bred Southern for like $600. And you know that's kind of comparable to pre-scrub boom wild caught prices on nicer animals. So you know, I think that's
when you first started. How cheap could you get even good stuff like bar necks and
like 450, 500 on bar necks, and then
you want to know what I paid for my first Moluccan?
Well, like $100 or something.
$75 from what was his name? He passed away. It was the Vegas pet store.
Ken Foose.
Yeah, Ken Foose. My first 2 Moluccans from $150 for the pair.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, my first 2 that I bought were $700 a piece, and that by current standards was insanely cheap, and by older standards was insanely expensive. So
it's crazy the way that.
Yeah, man, the Moluccans had the like most Bolins-ish storm of any of the scrubs, and it's not even close. Combination of you know, very sudden increase of demand, and then at the same time just cut off completely on wild caughts. And then obviously the one captive breeding event that sent the whole market into a fucking death spiral. And then like nothing since. A few like
wild. Does he have any still?
I don't know. I'd have to ask him. But you know, I feel like for a lot of us scrub heads, like there was always kind of that mindset of, and even, you know, David was like, get your money. You produce these, no one's breeding them. Like, you know, he priced this stuff very high. But like, let's not price people out of the market who should be working with them.
Yeah.
And Moluccans aren't quite there, but they're right on the edge. Like they're really close to the edge of being unaffordable to, you know, most people who should be working with them. And I don't really see it changing at this point. Like at least they're not continuing to go up, but they've settled to the point where
like those 2 on MORPH market are what, like 2,500 right now?
Yeah, I think at this point, for the foreseeable future,
and they're kind of ugly. No offense to who has them.
Yeah, they're not the best, but they're Moluccans nonetheless. I can't imagine publicly for retail price for the foreseeable future a Moluccan being less than like $2 grand or 2,500 for an individual, and you know, upwards of 3, you know, for really high end ones. Yeah, because that's like the debate that I've always had with myself, and I don't ever go too far into it because first of all, I've struck out on Moluccans thus far producing them, and then, you know, hopefully when I can actually do it, will I even sell any of them is kind of the next question. And but like what do you price that at? I have no idea. It's like you want to value you want to value the animals for what they are, but you also like don't want to just be a cash grab. At least I don't. I don't know.
Because like you can't sell them for. It's almost like when I got the Crocs, like when I sold those couple for $7,500, I'm like, I don't want these to be $7,500. That feels greedy. But then when the baby wild caughts are $6,000, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, to me, it makes sense in general for anything. If you have something that's captive bred, that it's going to be more valuable than its wild caught counterpart. But like what percentage markup is that? Like, is that fair? I don't know. Since we're on the Moluccan topic, let's look at this animal. It's right next to it on the Instagram. I mean, my gosh.
I've never seen that one in person, but I remember when David had it, and it was crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, just looking at that snake and comparing it to anything else that's out there, to me, if that animal was $5,000, I wouldn't be like, that isn't worth it.
Yeah. Like if I made that kind of money, like I would look at it and be like, if I had a surplus $5,000, I'd buy that animal.
Yeah, seriously. So it's kind of, it's like, where do you draw the line? Because that animal is clearly, by any metric, like a very valuable animal and should be treated as such. So
it's actually funny because now that I think about it, that specific animal, that was when David was like getting out the first time before he came back and we worked together. And I tried to buy it, and I was going to pay $2,000 for that animal back when they were worth nothing.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it that bad. But it was from that. You remember Mike Bell?
Which one? Mike, that's my cousin's name too. So I kind of.
I think he's in Maryland.
Okay.
Maybe, but there was a time Mike Bell had like 25 Moluccans.
Oh.
And I don't know. I think he did breed them once. Because he was on it was like at the time it was like him and like Rolf Kern and Rory Gresco.
Okay.
Like those first few people that had, and I can't remember who else got him other than Marcel at this point, but I'm sure there were.
I think Tony or what's this guy's name? He was an East Coast guy as well.
Did Freight Fridas get him at some point?
Good question. I don't think Patrick is in the live. Man, his name came up on a show I did recently. He's Anthony Caponetto.
He did get him.
Well, yeah. So, a handful. There's that guy in, I believe it's France, who has it's something JC. I'm not going to try to.
It begins with a P, and it's got too many syllables and letters to
way
make sense.
Too many consonants. But he's got him a handful of times now. He's probably done it with the most consistency. So I don't know. I really do think it's just a lack of like. I think it's the same with Helma Harris. Just people were trying like these wild caught bigger animals and not really putting the work in to raise young ones up the right way, et cetera, et cetera. It'll be interesting once all these captive bred ones start to go, because they're all 4 years old now. So, between I have one, Patrick has a couple, Brandon Wheeler has a couple, Carly has a pair now. I gotta be missing one or two people, but these animals are all like, they're small adults, but they're all adult size now. So I guess here's a good question. Did you really notice much of a difference breeding wild caught versus captive bred scrubs?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
Not. I mean, to that point, I guess possibly, because if you were to average the number of animals that simply did not breed, like females that just never went, like they were probably more likely the wild caught animals.
Okay.
But we had a female that was imported in September, and we bred her that year. Like, it wasn't even really on purpose. Like, it just kind of. And then after what happened, this is kind of segue. Like after what happened with my baby crocs, like I don't put a whole lot of weight one way or the other than I want captive bred so that there's less wild caught.
Yeah. Huh, interesting. I mean, you would know a whole hell of a lot better than me because I only have one data point to go off of. I just remember going through the process with this female who's above my left shoulder here, and just like everything just seemed to have just like it flowed much easier. Like everything that you would hope would happen, like feeding response increased dramatically, growth period. Then after the cool down, like being receptive of the male, lock, continue eating, basking, follicles grow, gets dark, goes up, like everything was so like felt so much smoother than some of the wild caught. But some wild caught females have done that as well.
No, I guess the one thing to circle back to what you said about like people failing because they're trying to take these big wild caught. Like I think that is definitely a difference. Like other than that one fluke where like we imported something and it bred that season, I just use that as like an anomaly example. But like,
it's worth.
You definitely have to consider all of the acclimation time and the ideal scenario of a younger animal. So as far as just like working like clockwork, yeah, definitely more. The captive bred just kind of went into it, but a young wild caught and raising it at the same pace, like I don't notice a difference.
Okay, even with the F2s?
I don't think so. The first 2 years that I tried that F2 pair, they didn't go.
Okay.
So it's just...
Cool.
And now, granted, like, when you put mine and David's stuff together, we have a larger sample size, but when you put just mine together using just the tactics that I used, I didn't have a very big sample size, so that simply could have just been because I sucked those 2 years and didn't pay attention. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, I think you also were in the tough spot of having a job that kept you on the road constantly as well, which is not ideal when it comes to snake breeding. That's for damn sure. Yeah, but yeah, man, I don't know. It's going to be fun to kind of see where this all goes. I mean, do you see yourself getting back into scrubs at any point?
There's a couple that I would like, but nothing. It's so weird to me to say that I have 3 scrubs.
Yeah. Which are the 2 Barnecks and then...
And it's Anabar.
Oh, duh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, I'd love nothing crazy. I think I'd really just... And availability is obviously the issue, but I love that one Key Island that I had. Like, I'd love Key Island, Beox, and Halmaharas again. And I don't know. Or maybe even a pair of Arus. But that's all stuff that's, I'm going to have to get you to produce it because I don't know if we're ever going to see it come in again.
Yeah. Man, especially with the R's, I feel like I hear every now and then, like, such and such is like, oh, yeah, I got a source for them and I'm getting them now. I'm later this year, they'll be over, and like, nothing.
Man, Eric and Kristen had 2 Arus for like nothing. It was like $800 for both of them.
Yeah, a friend of mine got one of them.
And they were ugly as hell, but I didn't care because...
Yeah, they were R's nonetheless, yeah.
They look like they still probably had like their jungle skin on them, and you've seen them go through a lot of changes, and like I almost got them just because I felt like you're supposed to get them, but I just didn't want them at the time.
Yeah. But, no, trust me, that was my same exact thought process. And
if you get that one female to go that I really like, I'll come up with your stupid 4-figure number for your
But the dark female?
No, that
lighter one.
The lighter one.
Yeah. She cycled last year for the first time. I actually thought for a minute.
The darker one that did go?
So the one that went...
It wasn't the one that used to be back by the window under the air conditioner?
Yeah, it was that one.
That one.
Yeah. She's kind of like, I hate to even say it this way to talk about an Aru, but like the most kind of basic looking of all of them. Kind of like an orangish brown.
That one that you had in like that 2 cube by the door, that's obviously much bigger now, but that was one of the nicest Arus I've ever seen.
Both of those girls, I still have both of them. Yeah, the one super orange one, she's still every bit the same snake that she was, except now 9 feet long. And then that the dark one is still just as dark and high contrast, and also about 9 feet as well. So yeah, I really hope that this coming season is the time for both of them. The dark girl was actually kind of scary. I had her paired up earlier in the, like at the end of last year, and like both her and the male got these like really nasty RIs together. And I was like, I've never experienced anything like that in a breeding pair, but Brooke worked her witch doctor magic and like cured it with diffused chamomile tea, and sitting in the incubator for a few weeks, and legitimately cleared up both of the RIs, and now the snakes are both doing great. But I think that completely threw her off to where I didn't even try her again for the remainder of the year, or of this current year. So that threw that girl off, but she's back to full force now. So
I don't even notice the comment tab. Why is Steve Doss here? You need to just kick him out.
He was here from oh, it doesn't show the time stamp from well, I guess Eastern time, 8:52. So before we went live, Steve Doss was here harassing. I don't expect anything less. Well, we're right around the hour mark. I think this is a good time to break for the commercials.
Your dad's in here?
Oh yeah, he's
damn, I'm missing everything.
Yeah, there's a whole live chat going on. Ken is in the building. But anyway, so I think now is probably a good time to break for the commercials. So sit tight, everyone. We'll be back in a few minutes.
One of the biggest growths we have in the reptile industry today are the rare species of reptiles that aren't worked with. That's right. That's why I went ahead and partnered up again with Brian Susan over at SUNDOWN Reptiles. Brian works with species such as kahua geckos, gargoyle geckos, all species of tree monitors. He works with abronia and many other cool species geckos that you can check out all on his website. Head over to sundownreptiles.com, see what he has available. Brian's one of the best doing it in the reptile industry today. He's been on the show multiple times, so make sure you check out all of Brian Susan's episodes on Trap Talk Reptile Network. But more importantly, for the highest quality of captive bred reptiles, make sure you head over to sundownreptiles.com and make sure you give him a follow on Instagram. Thank you again, Brian Susan over at Sundown Reptiles. One of the things I love about being a part of the reptile industry is all the learning, okay? Learning can be fun, and I can prove that to you. Thank you so much to today's sponsor, it's Gary Scavino over at gs.reptiles. I highly recommend you head over to his YouTube channel, follow all this man's content when it comes to learning about rare species of snakes you could be keeping in the hobby, and also just finding out how easy a lot of these rare species of snakes are to keep in general. So thank you so much, Gary Scavino of GS Reptiles. Again, head over to his YouTube channel. Also head over to his Instagram to be on top of all of his current work and be ready for a big year over at GS Reptiles. Thank you so much, Gary, for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it. Chee! Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Devin.
I'm Teresa, and we are Pragmores. We are based in Czech Republic, a small country in the middle of Europe.
We really love animals that revolve around multi-recessive projects, and one of our very favorites is Hypo. We're really looking forward to clutches that are coming this season, and some of those are Hypo Clown, DG Clown, Hypo DG Clown, and one of our all-time favorites, Hypo Puzzle.
Hope you enjoyed the next episode on Trap Talk, the greatest reptile network in the world.
If you guys want to see next level cutting edge ball python projects, please make sure you head over to their Instagram to follow all their amazing work, and head over to their website to see what they could possibly have available by heading over to progmorphs.com. Thank you again, Devin and Teresa, for bringing some of the biggest heat worldwide in the ball python game. If you want to be organized, and if you want to be cutting edge in the ball python game, then you don't want to miss this. Shout out to today's sponsor, and that's Clutch, #1 ball python organization app in the game. No better place to start off than by using this app. Clutch is an organization app that helps you organize all your ball python projects. It also helps your peers and your fellow community members look at what you possibly have coming for the upcoming ball python season, what you have currently available on MORPH Market. It's so awesome to be ahead of the game by using organization app like Clutch. Thank you so much, the entire Clutch team, amazing team over at Clutch. If I were you, I would head over to Clutch's Instagram account, and I would also head over to their website, try it out, see how it works for you, but especially if you're just now coming into this, before you build your reptile collection, I would do it organized, and I would do it with Clutch. Thank you, Clutch, for being so amazing. Excited to hear what Clutch has to bring in the near future. Cheers. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. One of the things I love the most about the reptile world is reptile businesses that are family-oriented. I love the Rice Reptile family. Rice Reptiles have made quite the name for themselves over the last couple of years, rebranding themselves and also bringing amazing cutting-edge, front-of-the-line ball python projects that you must check out. Again, make sure you head over to their website, ricereptiles.net, Rice Family Reptiles on IG, to give them a follow, see what they have coming out. You can catch them vending at all major NARBC shows, Southeast Reptile Expo. A lot of great stuff coming from this family. So again, thank you so much, Billy, Don, over at Rice Reptiles. If you're in the ball python game in 2025, you know what you should be doing with your sheds, and that's turning them in to get them tested. That's right, no more POS heads, no more 66% heads. We can find out directly through today's sponsor, and that sponsor is Rare Genetic Inc. Thank you so much, Ben and Sean over at Rare Genetic Inc. Head over to their website, raregeneticinc.com, and head over to their YouTube channel, and make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channel. They put out a video every Wednesday to update you guys on new current events over at RGI, but I gotta tell you right now, very excited to continue my partnership over at Rare Genetic Inc. Head over to their Instagram account. Make sure you follow them on Instagram, subscribe, hit that notification bell on their YouTube channel. That way you're current on new announcements and anything that they got to update you with. Again, thank you so much, Rare Genetic Inc. RGI, you guys are the best student in the game.
Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We are back. So I guess now in the second half of the show, after some fun initial scrub talk, I think it's probably time to get into the serious subject matter of the night. And I'll kind of let you, take the reins on this one as far as where you want us to go.
I think I'm going to give your boy a call this week.
Okay. Yeah.
Because as it stands, if we just rewind, the last place that it was left is that I still want to punch your boss in the face.
Hey. I recuse myself from involvement in this one.
So I don't know if he plays all your podcasts, but MJ, I'm gonna call you and squash it.
All right, let's do it. I'm all for that. I like the sound of it. So, but yeah, I guess one of the things that beforehand, as we kind of discussed the episode, was talking a little bit about some of the hard times that have kind of unfortunately fallen upon you over the last little bit. And, for better or worse, it happens to more people than we'd like to really think. And like you kind of said in your post prior to the episode, oftentimes that just marks the end of somebody's career within reptiles, or, so I don't want to really direct this in any particular direction, but where do you want to go with this subject?
So listen, it's never an easy thing to talk about, but the reason that I thought it was worth talking about is really what you just said is, people go through some bad stuff. They get stressed. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about losses. They don't, they suppress all of that until they can't take it anymore. And then that's when you see somebody who you thought was pretty prominent all of a sudden has a whole collection up for sale.
Right.
Or they disappear from the internet and you're like, shit, where'd this person go?
Yeah.
And for me, like, shy of, a couple of the people that we've seen that have had like whole facility fires, shy of that, like I think I've lived through in the past few years some of the worst shit that you can. I mean, I had fire at home that took out 20 monitors and rare stuff I'll never get back, like those turquoise monitors and stuff like that were in there. And you get over that, and then you find out that you're still losing stuff because you tried to save some of it, but smoke inhalation affects lungs, and I find out that stuff's dying like months later.
Oh wow.
And you get over that, and then Christmas, we had that overheat in that like shipping container room.
Yeah.
I had basically a mini split that was set to 84. It said that it was 84, and it just kept blasting. And by the time we got in there, everything was melted. Everything. And there were key islands in there. There were arus in there. There were halmaheras in there. My F3 was in there. And then there was stuff that like you might not think so valuable, but sentimental. Like some of Jade's like original pets were there. Like her like educational ball python that she had forever. Like it was a ball python, but it was like a really special animal.
Sure, yeah.
A pet boa that was a really special animal. Keith McPeak had gifted me some ESA Jamaican boas, gone. And you could I feel like this is a little too graphic, but like you could smell it from outside, so like you knew what was going to happen when you walked in. And like 6 things survived from there, and I don't even know if I should have kept them alive because they walked out with like some neurological stuff from the heat and eventually lost most of them. Not to dwell too much in that terrible stuff, but like you can just imagine the mind fuck that it put me through going through in a year and
like that. My God.
And since I don't do this for a living, I try not to really concern myself with the money of it. But if we're going to get real, I lost over $100,000 of animals in a year.
Yeah.
And that's following, like, I don't know, if you just look back at all the conversations you and I have had, like, I'm sure there were just other stupid shit. Like just the stuff we went through with a bunch of random cancer pop-ups and then this and then that. Like when you mix all that together, like it was very easy to be like, I am just fucking done. I'm just done. And I went through that phase for a little bit. I went through that phase where I'm like, I really just don't care about this anymore. Like it's too hard. Like I go in there and like, I don't want to hold my croc monitors.
Right.
I don't want to play with this snake. Like I'm doing what I have to do to keep them alive, to not do wrong by the animals, but I wasn't enjoying it. And part of me was like, should I get out? Should I actually get out? But then the other part of me was like, you don't want to make decisions when you're that emotionally thrown.
Right.
So like my goal was like, hold on until you can rationalize this.
Yeah.
Because I think that like the real you doesn't want to be out. So I'm like, take care of these things, go through the motions, love it, don't love it, doesn't matter, do right by the animals and make that decision when the time comes. And to be honest, there's days where I still kind of feel that way. It's why I haven't tried to breed my crocs again. A lot goes into it, and I just don't feel like it.
Right.
It's stressful, and I've made a point of doing everything that I can to not have it be stressful.
Yeah.
But one of the things that kind of did it for me was like, I didn't want to talk about it, and then I started talking about it. I posted it publicly. I shared everything that I did. And if you ever you have something bad happen and you look at what you did and you're like, man, like there's nothing I could have done to avoid that. And I don't know if I could or if I couldn't have, but if you dig hard enough into all these people that have had electrical things, this, that, the other, like there is always some kind of thing that you could have done. Because like you're familiar with the unit that overheated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, why couldn't we have put that on a backup thermostat?
Yeah.
We knew that sensor push didn't get good reception out there.
Yeah.
Why didn't we get a booster Wi-Fi? Like, and when I post that stuff, like that's all stuff that not a lot of us think about. But then we watch one person's facility after another catch on fire, or a rack overheats, or heat tape melts something. So
Yeah.
for me, it was like I want to start sharing this stuff because, like, we all need to get smarter because we watch disasters happen every day.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
it's.
But I think what's that?
No, keep going. By all means.
But I think talking about that stuff and keeping those connections that I had that really understood like some of the things that I was going through, like made me stay connected so much in an interpersonal way that I couldn't actually get rid of the animals. Like the people kept me in.
Yeah.
But if I had just reclused myself, I think I might have got rid of the animals. Like you and I didn't necessarily stay in perfect touch when everything happened, but we still stayed in enough touch. And I still stayed close to Owen, and I still stayed close to just, some of the people. And obviously it helped having Jade there because we kind of like trauma bonded through some of it, even though we were both looking at each other like, should we be out?
Right.
But man, just to keep talking about it and then to turn it into like how this episode started, of how I've kind of reverted back to, like, it took a lot of soul searching to remember why I did this. And you don't walk away from something that you've done since you were a child. Like there's a way to dig deeper and find peace in that and remember what you loved about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing. Like whatever animals I have left, it's mismatch this, mismatch that. Like I don't have any projects ready. I don't have like everything that I want to breed. I have a whole bunch of sausage. It's like a damn sausage fest in there. I can't find a female anything for anything. And I don't even care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I just like, I go in, I poke it, I feed it, I have some fun. I talk to it and say dumb shit. Like, and that's what I wanted to get back to. And like, that was some conversations that Jade and I had, because we went through, as you can imagine, like that was stressful. Plus, like some of the non-animal things that we went through up there was like also very stressful.
Yeah.
And it put stress on us, like our relationship. So when we talk about the animals, she's like, I miss the days when you were goofy. Like you were talking to things, you were like wrangling a croc monitor, just trying to bite your face off. And I used to have so much fun with that. But now, like, I got into a point where, like, if one of those lizards tried to bite me, I'm just like, fuck you. I'm not doing this shit today. Like, it wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't funny.
Yeah.
But I just, like, tried to go back to those roots. And that, to me, like, kind of, I think was what made me. Like, the amount of things, the amount of stupid things that I would do that you would just crack up at. Like, all that stuff is kind of what made me, shy of like the alternative of like not having projects and trying to make that a bigger thing. Like it was really being animated and having fun.
Right.
To me, it was like shrinking the collection down to what does it take to get back to that. And for real, like I think I have less than 10 non-venomous snakes left.
That's crazy.
And I don't know what I have for venomous, maybe 15.
Yeah.
Handful of kings, handful of mambas. And then a handful of monitors. And then I have stuff on loan. I don't even know where it is. Like I didn't have the heart to sell the stuff, so I'm like, I just need to trust people and hope that they don't screw me over with it. Not that the people I picked would, but you've seen me put myself in that position where I've been. Think of like the Joe, not Swatowski, the other Joe that robbed me for those croc monitors.
Yeah,
I've been too trusting and I've lost my ass on it. But like I got guys like Jim Hardesty's not going anywhere. No. I got my Celebensis with Robert Fox. Like I got Sambawa with John Dragna. And right now we're sitting on het albino Sambawa eggs.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Which is so awesome.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been able to do that here. I wouldn't have the headspace. I wouldn't have the room. So like empowering somebody else and them being excited about it, like that does it for me. If I don't have the energy to do it, like the fact that Jim got croc eggs out of one of my crocs, like I'm pumped for those fucking guys, and that makes me feel plugged in without having to do the stuff that I don't feel like I'm ready for.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like a big part of kind of evolving within herpetoculture is like realizing when you've overextended yourself and like finding the humility to like accept that you are doing something wrong, whether it be for the animals, for yourself, for kind of everything involved with it. But it's something I've definitely struggled with as well. But yeah, I mean, it's admirable that you were able to push through all of that. Amongst all of the shit talking comments is definitely a very real comment from Steve, saying everything he went through with Chad passing, realize what's more important than the hobby is the friends and family. And then most importantly, getting your mind straight. And, that's absolutely the case. I mean, as with anybody, I've definitely had those thoughts from time to time, especially like you lose an animal that was really special to you kind of out of nowhere, or something bad happens. And, that kind of dread sits in. It's like, fuck, what's happening? What, like, am I even supposed to be doing this?
And then God forbid, like you lose a couple in a row. Now all of a sudden you're like, it's me.
Yeah.
It's me. I'm a fuck up. Yeah.
And it's like, man, would life be just so much less stressful if I just went to like a 9 to 5 somewhere and then just, had a chill, like remainder of my life that was fairly normal. But then like, think about that for too long. I'm like, I don't even know if I could live life differently than I do now.
It's funny you say that, and not specifically because I do hate that I had to go back to retail management. But to anybody who's in that kind of relative field, like I actually use like my assessment and analysis of management is also kind of what I applied to this animal thing. So like when I manage people, so I have like a 200 person staff now, right? And when I was a DM, I had probably like 1,000 person staff. Everybody has a job and you're like, I hate having a micromanager. My boss is a micromanager. And I don't want to be a micromanager as a boss either. But the one thing that I do is I assess a situation and I manage it down to the level that you make me manage it. If I can empower you to have freedom and be successful, I'm going to give you that space. I'm going to have you run with it, and I'm going to encourage you and develop you with it. If you're hungry and you're halfway there, I'm going to be there. I'm going to kind of keep tabs on it, but I'm still going to keep empowering you. If you don't have your shit together, I'm going to be that micromanager because we need to succeed. So that's kind of how I applied it to like my animal collection in theory. I looked at it. I'm like, how much do I have to cut this down to feel like I'm effective?
Yeah.
Like, can I manage a big collection still and trust myself with it and feel that I'm going to get gratification from it? And that answer was no. So I cut that management down further. I still sold some things, even though my collection was already small. And even now, like this is the smallest collection I've had since, 2015, 2014.
Wow.
And that was just because I was moving for Regal and I was in an apartment at the time. So I didn't have much.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I did was like, this is the form of like stepping it all the way down to micromanaging where like I had to cut it tight enough and keep tabs on myself to make sure that I was in a healthy headspace and constantly analyzing like whether or not this made sense for me.
Yeah.
And I refuse to let it go idle because if you let it go idle, you just fall into complacency and you stay miserable.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great mindset for anybody to take, and almost even like sometimes preventatively, like, even if like everything's going well, like doing a little bit of a self audit in a good period to make sure that you don't slip into something. Cause like I'm kind of in a similar, different situation, but like similar process right now where I have a current goal of getting below 200 snakes, which might sound kind of crazy, but that would put me at the smallest collection that I've had since like I lived with my parents when I was 18. And you know, you obviously saw what, and obviously it wasn't just me, but like the volume of animals at one point in time where like 300 and something was low. Like the reason those monitors never bred is that there wasn't enough time in the day to feed them enough to actually breed them properly.
Right?
And the enclosures weren't set up right. And I'm like, what the hell am I even doing with all this shit? Like, what's the point? What's the point of any of this if like it's not even like whether or not they breed well, it's like they're not even set up ideally.
It's like, are they even happy, and are you even enjoying them?
Right, exactly. Like, is everything fine? Yeah, sure. The animals are healthy. Like, they're not experiencing poor care. But what's the point of half-assing so much stuff when you're not even really enjoying it that much? And like, you know, and for better or worse, you know, like Forrest's mindset a lot of the time was like, have the coolest stuff, have this big collection, have diversity, but not necessarily as much of like a mindset priority on if you're even enjoying it. You know, like,
Yeah.
so
we need it to need it. Like,
it's like I kind of got to the point where like for a while it was okay, and you know, I'm not even gonna like just blame him for some of this, but definitely was like just what I was around was like, let's have the best collection in the country, best reptile collection in the country, whatever that looks like. And then eventually it's like I kind of came to this realization, and this isn't some profound thing, but for me at the time it was would you rather have the best reptile collection in the country or your favorite reptile collection in the country? And that was like a pivotal moment for me of like, yeah, who am I doing this for? If I'm not doing it for myself, then who the hell am I doing it for? Like, because I don't care that much about the opinion of others. And even for as much as I do, it's like, what does that really bring to me for a certain number of people to think that I have this incredible collection? Like, what does that really accomplish at the end of the day? And does it really make me happy? Does it make me want to get up in the morning?
and that's a hard one because it's easy to get on a high from that stuff.
Oh,
from, like,
fuck yeah.
the reception that you get from social media and stuff like that.
Oh, it's how I coped with forest passing, was getting new animals and having people be like, whoa, that's so cool. And I thought it was really cool, but I'm like, as you were like, you know, don't make the decision to sell your collection in that period of like mourning after the tragedies. It's like, don't be buying shit for that same reason either.
Yeah.
And I learned that lesson the very hard way. So yeah, I mean,
it was funny because like breeding the crocs like obviously was such a thing for me, but I'm not good at like the spotlight. Like that's why I didn't get on like that many podcasts or anything when that stuff happened. But like I was even like at the Pomona show, people were stopping me in the aisles to talk about it. And like internally, you're like, wow, this feels really cool. Externally, I'm like, I want you to go the fuck away. But yeah, like that kind of thing was like kind of, you're like, man, like I want more. Like I could do this. What else can I breed? Can I do these tricolors decks? Can I do the Molinas? Can I do this? Can I do that? And then I'm just like, I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that 100%. Like a big thing that I realized at one point, and honestly, I have you to thank for it in some ways, but I got to this point where I'm like, I really don't have much of a drive to breed anything that is really difficult to start as babies. Like that's why I did that. Yeah, like the Pataeus, and it's why I don't have a ton of palm vipers. Like I'm much heavier on the rattlesnakes than palm vipers. Is like I had that litter of Marchi, and they were great. And I think, well, the animals that I kept, only one of them didn't make it. But I you know, at 11 o'clock at night, tapping a fucking baby viper for 15 minutes for it to grab a pinky and then you stand still for half an hour and hope it can move.
I
I'm like,
hate it. I don't want to go back to that
if,
shit
if
ever.
I had 50 of these, I would off myself. I'd rather go flip burger somewhere than do
Never
this 50 times over. So, and like, you know, like seeing you get that big group of the Niger marginata in, and you're like chopping up little pieces of frog and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I would be beyond miserable. I would never sign up for this voluntarily.
And
You
then
know,
after all that work, like a couple of those didn't make it either, and I'm like, this is stupid. But you
and
know
like,
what though? Like to the people that are successful with it,
oh,
they're like my idols.
all the credit in the world to those people. Oh, yeah, this is not me talking down to any of that. It's like, I just know that's not me.
You saw they had that adult pair of those at Daytona. So I don't know who works with them, but that was from that Augusta lady that does Colubra, but she's in Europe. But there's some tie to somebody here that's offering their stuff now, and I don't know who does that.
One of the partners in Colubra is in Florida, and they're the ones who do all the like logistics on the U.S. side.
Because they had Damnades in there too, which I thought was pretty cool. But
The what?
I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
They look a lot like the Nitro Marginatus.
Yeah. Right.
The adults end up quite different.
Yeah. Like I was really, really into the Petias for a while, and as much as I love those snakes, and like it would be really cool to have like a really huge male Carinata. There's like a display snake.
Yeah, I've got like a 9-foot male here that I really enjoy. It's not like that beast that I had in the basement that time, but
yeah, a 9-foot
Carinata that I got from it's funny. Josh Buchwald, him and I have a roller coaster just because he responds to people even worse than I do, so I give up on him. But now he's got I like talking to Ben, who's one of his guys, Ben Siegel, because he's been around forever.
Yeah.
But now he's got Justin Iguodala down there with him, and I've always loved that guy. So we chat all the time, and that's what got me to finally pick up one special Petias just to.
Which is?
It's that big male.
The Carinata.
Yeah, like we just got him.
Okay. Lisa says, isn't it someone in Asia? Maybe Lisa, you would know better than me, but that does kind of ring a bell from what I remember. The Niger Marginata breeder.
Oh.
So that they may be taking it from Asia through all their channels, bringing it to the U.S. that way.
You know, I think it actually might be because there was a big shipment where I was supposed to get a lot of different stuff like that from Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
And it was en route via Asia. And I remember they like left that whole box on a tarmac in China somewhere and cooked all of it. And at that moment, and I don't even know if all that money got recovered. So like in that moment, I'm like, this stuff is too deep for me.
Oh,
I will continue to pay retail. I don't need to be part of this.
For fucking real. Oh my God. Yeah. That's part of why I like kind of doing what I'm doing. Because obviously, and you were doing this for a period of time as well with a lot of the scrubs. Like, you have a good stretch of selling stuff, and then you run out of what you're selling, and you're like, man, I'd like to just like source some of this stuff so I can keep having inventory to sell. And then something like that happens, or the group that you get in is in rough shape, and now you're like balancing getting these animals up to par, but then also like being concerned, did I just bring a pathogen into my building, and how well can I quarantine these animals? Like, obviously back in Indy, like having a building for quarantine, the very ideal scenario, obviously for majority of the history of that building. But then here it's like, it's my bedroom, which is 15 feet away from one of my main collection rooms. And it's like, technically, can you like, yeah, I guess, but is it really worth it? So
It's
I don't know. It's like I'd much rather have what I have, produce it, and like be able to move a smaller volume of animals more easily, and like just kind of plan accordingly.
This
But
is so random, but you just mentioned Lisa here in the chat with that Asia comment, and I might have the name wrong, but that male Tannenbar that you left me that I was going to pair to my old girl and then decided not to breed, I'm pretty sure she has that animal.
yeah, yep, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you're still listening, but if you want to type in there how he's doing, that was a cool snake. And I think you got a patternless Xanthic too, possibly. It was one that I got from Swatowski before he
Oh, cool.
fell off the world.
Very cool. Well, that's good. That's at least good to know that that animal is still somewhere good. Yeah. But I don't know, like for me, like for instance, with like the Mexican pine snakes, the babies hatch, they shed, I drop a fuzzy in there, they all eat them, they all eat the next fuzzy, like, and then I post them up once.
Yeah, they're both doing
hell
well.
yeah, that's awesome. You know, post them up once, most of them, if not all of them, sell from that post, and I'll do it again next year. That to me just seems like the most perfect scenario possible with snake breeding.
Yeah.
Like, because I've even thought about before, and I got some more Mexican pine snakes to like bolster the project. Ended up, and thank God for like a really good quarantine system. But one of them ended up having crypto, and you know, they didn't make it very far in quarantine. So I'm like, after that, I'm like, should I, like, would I rather have one clutch that sells really well every year? People like know the adults and want babies from them. You know, maybe I have 10 to 15 babies to sell and I can maybe mark them up a little bit above retail, or have 40 babies a year to sell and maybe like the first 10 to 15 go retail and now I'm sitting on 25 of them. Is that, and now I'm just competing with every other individual on MORPH Market or at a show or wherever that they're being passed over because the species isn't particularly beautiful as a baby compared to its adult coloration. Like, is that, do I really want that instead of the first scenario? I don't know. Like, would it, you know, is it cool? Like in theory, selling 40 snakes compared to selling 15 snakes sounds better.
Yeah.
But in that scenario, does it really work out better in the long run? I don't know. I mean, like, to use Lisa as an example, if Lisa had 50 baby white-lip pythons a year and was relying exclusively on the US market for those 50 baby white-lip pythons, is that really better than having like a clutch a year, 2 clutches, and having people waiting on those individuals? I don't know.
To that point, those are a species that I really kind of miss out of the stuff that I kept.
Yeah.
Both of them, golds, blacks. I'd like to have a pair of each again someday.
Okay.
Do you still have that one black that was just kind of a pet, that big male?
Yeah, I have him. He's up in the.
I saw you list him, but I was pretty convinced you're not actually going to do it.
I'm super back and forth on it. Yeah, it's just like I've had this snake for so long, and at this point I'm probably not going to pair it up.
Steve Doss is full of it. That's just like how you were going to flood the market with white lips, and then you sold every single one of them.
Oh man, yeah. Time will tell. Time will tell. Steve. Oh man,
Steve, I want those Maclots back still.
I think the white lips bit him, so he got emeralds.
Yeah,
reasonable. And the Wilmas as well. But yeah, this is a great thing to put in perspective from Ryan. Yeah, you can be your own worst enemy in captive projects. I mean, 100%. You know, and I think like there are times, and I think this happens a lot more with animals that start getting imported on a more frequent basis. Like, you know, to name one, you'll know what I'm talking about, but I won't name the species, but a particular venomous species that has always been really rare, and then all of a sudden basically started flooding in from Europe over the last 4 years or so. And the value of those snakes has been essentially halved, if not even worse, just by the virtue of oversupply for what already was probably a fairly small niche market to begin with.
Are we talking about something that you'll never personally recover on?
Fuck yeah, we are. So I might be a little jaded about it personally, but still, like, that can happen with anything. We see it happen in MORPH fields all the time. I mean, like, lavender or false water cobras. I remember when they first hit the scene and were like 15 grand a piece, and now not only are they much reduced in price, they're like, they've been inbred really bad, and there's a lot of congenital issues with them, and like, so you can really screw up a project with some potential.
It's funny here, Ryan Young's comment, you can be your own worst enemy with captive projects, because like, kind of in the if we kind of circle back here where you're talking about like kind of getting ourselves in trouble with always wanting to add something or do something more, and like, I idolize kind of what Ryan has done with so many species, and on the flip side, my John Adragna, and then more recently to me, Nick Lillis, like the incredible stuff that they've done. Like, that's something that, like, in my motivated stages, like something that I always kind of wanted to chase, because I was so impressed by what they could do. And it did. I became my own worst enemy. So I'm like, I need to do this. It'll matter to me later. If I can just catch up on this, I'll feel good about this. And I'm like, it's just not me. I love those guys. I'm super impressed, but it's just not me now.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, if you look at these, and I'm not quite as familiar with Nick's collection in its current state as I am with John and Ryan, but like, they're very much specialized on what they're specialized on. Like, Ryan has a bunch of different python species and some of the tree boas and whatnot, but like, that's pretty much his lane. Like, he's got his turtles and stuff that's kind of like the fun side project. John at this point has like the laces, and you said it was some Bauer, the which subspecies was it, the head albinos?
Yeah, it was
some Bauers. So like, very focused on certain things, and honestly, one that one guy who this year in particular, but for a while, it really inspired me with, especially seeing in person what he was able to do, was MJ with his green tree pythons. And we kind of, the two of us kind of paralleled in some of our Noah's Arking together. But he had a super diverse collection of, the ball pythons were always kind of the baseline for everything, but then all the arboreal stuff, you had, scrubs and poplin pythons, olives, short tails, retics, monitors, etc. And now, like, he's got his green trees, his emeralds, his ball pythons. It's pretty much about it. And he had 70 baby green tree pythons this year. And not only that, he has the time to establish 70 baby green tree pythons because he has cut down on the quote unquote fat of other areas of the collection, and not, put it in a reductionist word, but
he had some white lips that I wanted too when he was getting out of them, because he had those real big Neot golds.
Mm-hmm. So like, and he's like, man, this is my favorite stuff. Like, the ball pythons are like, I still love the ball pythons, and that's kind of the baseline for stuff. But then just the arboreals is where, he's like, that's where my heart is with it. And what really got me, and almost made me a little bit angry, but I'm like, it'll never be me. He's like, yeah, like a light week of maintenance in this room takes me 5 hours. I'm like, that makes me fucking mad.
Right.
Because like a light week of maintenance for me is like 20 to 25. So fuck. But I mean, to see a project like that come to fruition, because he's had those chondros for, he's had chondros for a long time, to see like and 100% hatch rates on clutches, stuff like that, where my fucking fertility percentage on scrub pythons is probably in the 30s. Like, as embarrassing as it is to admit it, like, why am I not more focused on like really dialing that in, as opposed to having interest here and interest there and stuff here and stuff there?
The thing that made it hard for me to not do that, and I think it's like a little ego driven and maybe a little competitive spirit, is because if I look at Ryan, I'm like, if Ryan can do this, I can figure this out. And Ryan will talk to me and look at me and he'll be like, I believe you can figure this out. But then I'm like, I don't actually want to go do all that work. Like, that's not what drives me. And that's what gets me. That's why I bring up Nick Lillis, because Nick Lillis does a shit ton of water monitors, and then he does rhino iguanas, and then he does geckos. And then for the first time in forever, he produced quince monitors. And then right after that, he produces peach throats.
Oh, we got peach throats too? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
It's like, it's freaking, it's unreal. And now he's got some pure Samar waters, and it's funny because he'll like exemplify me for breeding crocs, and I'm like, if you had crocs, you would breed the croc. Shut the fuck up. and he's finally jumped in, and he's got a male, and he's looking for a female, and I'm like, you'll get him, and I'll be mad at you. But
yeah.
But I'm like, but if somebody can balance that, I'm like, I could also do that. Like,
yeah,
no one's going to outwork me if it's something I want to do. But then I get in there, and then you start to realize, like, well, that's not what I want to do. Just because I can, it's not what I want to do. And I think something that kind of got me recently, like when we tie all that together, and then we talk about the glory of social media and things like that, is like some of the stuff that I have, especially the venomous stuff. Like, I think that if I made a spectacle about it on social media, it could be pretty valuable, like that, like that gigantic Chinese banded king and the very pretty orange ones. But like one of my favorite snakes in there is like my female PNG taipan, and I've only posted her once, and I don't give a fuck if anybody ever sees her again. I just like her. She follows my finger across the glass, and when I open it up, she comes out and she acts like a corn snake, and she looks around, and I'm like, you look like I could hold you, but you'll also murder me and my whole family. So I'm going to enjoy this from a distance. And it's just like, I'm just so at peace observing. And the mambas too, everybody's like, mambas are so damn crazy. And if I do need to take a mamba out, like, it is a rodeo, you've seen me have to deal with some shit. But when they're in a nice setup and they're just cruising through a tree, like, to me, it's like watching a fish tank. Like, I'm just so at peace just sitting in that room.
Yeah.
Just watching all of the death around me. Minus the fact that that biggest Sumatran king, that original one, still bangs the glass all the time. Like, it still thinks it's going to.
Yeah, that's a fucking terrifying animal, man.
I was going to say, I scared you once with that Sumatran. I don't remember what happened. But I just remember he turned around and did something, and I think you thought he was going to grab me on the stomach or something, because you like had a physical response and had to turn around.
I remember exactly what you're talking about, and yeah, I was like, man, this is how I know that I'm cool. Like, I'll have my elapid like colubrids, and I'll just stick with this, because if I was in that like tight space and that king turned around on me, and my back is to the wall, I probably would have needed therapy after that. So,
and maybe it's not the right mindset to have to be that comfortable, but I was very comfortable in that.
Yeah, well, you kind of need to, though, if you're going to interact.
That level of calm is necessary to execute.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is just to never take that stuff too lightly. So like there was a first round where I kept venomous when I was young. I was like 21, 22, and I did some of the dumb shit that you see on the internet now. I was free handling my cobras and doing stuff like that. And eventually for me, I looked at that and I'm like, this is really fucking stupid, but it's also like kind of compulsive. Like I was keeping them and I'm like, if I can't handle these animals and do these things that are actually irresponsible, I'm like, I don't want them because I kind of don't trust myself.
Yeah.
And I got out for a very long time. And when I came back with a different maturity and a different level of experience, it just feels very different. Like you'll definitely see me do some things with and there'll always be the debate out there, but when it comes to a big king, I'm using my hands to shift that big body, and it just is what it is. Agree with me or don't. I'm never going to throw the thing around my neck and do some of the dumb shit that you see on the internet, but I'll put my hands on a big king. On a mamba, I'm tailing it and I'm moving it, and if it turns into a rodeo, I set the thing free and I go recollect it when I'm ready.
Right. I feel like a king cobra is the only venomous snake that you can make a very sound argument that quote unquote free handling, by the definition of not using equipment to handle that animal, is actually safer potentially than using a hook on it. I don't think there's any other venomous snake that fits that criteria.
So the order of the photos that I sent you, and you're like, I'm going to use the second one. The second one on my phone.
Is that the second one?
Well, that was your second one. That was not my second one.
Oh.
My second one was the one with the pretty poor lighting, but when I have the big Chinese bandit up in the air. And I'm like, somebody's going to say some shit about that.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that one up. Yeah, so I'm going to very much like Neanderthal this one, but for anyone who's watching the video, you can see.
And she's about 13 feet.
Yeah. That's definitely a little reckless.
That was a little on the edge. That's a little on the edge. And my problem with the free handle people are the ones who exemplify it.
Right.
I really don't care what you do in your closed doors. And frankly, I don't want you to care what I do. If I decide to free handle a mamba and I get tagged, I have my protocols. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly who I'm calling. That shit is not going to see the news. And if I die, it's because I was an idiot.
Yeah.
But when you don't know what to do and you go on Facebook asking for antivenom,
potentially even an hour or so after posting that snake in the first place.
That is the next thing that I want to, and I don't have my inland taipan anymore. But that is the next thing I want to do is work with. I don't know if you know the name, like Zoe Renee. She works with like the Snakebite Institute or whatever. Okay. But I want to get my import license to stock my own antivenom. Because I do have my sources and like KRZ and stuff. Like they've all told me like, hey, if something happens, like call me immediately. Yeah. Like we'll do it. But like, I fully agree with the zoo stance of like the private keeper should not be jeopardizing the safety of the zoo employees by accommodating us.
Yeah, no question.
Because they might have the storage ability and the contacts and the money, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't take time to restock that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if I get tagged by a king and I take their Thailand polyvalent or whatever it is that they use, like there's a good chance they don't have any more until they restock it.
Yeah. Now they got tariffs on the antivenom. It's even more expensive now. I just thought about that right now.
God. It's so funny because a lot of the African and Asian antivenom is really actually fairly inexpensive. I would almost rather, forgetting the danger side of it, if we're just talking finances, I would rather get nailed by a foreign hot than I would by a rattlesnake here.
Yeah.
Orfab is so goddamn expensive.
Yeah.
It's like somewhere like $3,500 a vial.
Yeah.
Versus like I think the like the Thai Red Cross, I think is like $100 a vial or something. Like it's
The difficulty is just in the sourcing, not necessarily the cost of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was at the hospital for an MRI this morning, and I decided to stop by and introduce myself in the ER and try to speak to toxicology since I'm new here, just to see kind of what like their level of preparedness would be.
Yeah.
This, and as I suspected, they were mind blown and not very prepared. But my biggest thing was like, will you utilize my protocols, and if I can produce the antivenom, will you administer it?
Yeah.
Is the biggest thing, and that answer was yes. And I also made sure they had a helipad, because there is another hospital in state that is better at this, and it sucks because that's how urgent and how dangerous it is. It's like, if it's not working here, like I need a life flight.
Yeah, especially with your stuff. That's that's 100% necessary. So
But I just I don't look at it as crazy. I look at it as well managed and actually kind of calming when you observe the stuff. I don't necessarily want to wrangle it all the time.
Oh yeah, no, for me, like part of my project of like kind of paring stuff down, getting to a more manageable scale is like, I have my venomous in 2 rooms right now, and I want to get it down into 1. And by virtue of reducing animals, not cramming them into 1 room. But the room with my adult rattlesnakes in it, it's all, Exoterra cages that have, kind of naturalistic setups, and like I, just walk in there and see all the snakes and walk through, see if anyone's locked up, and like it's just nice. It's just like a calming room to be in. It's like during the months of the year when it's not in brumation, the lightest week I do nothing. The heaviest week might be like 3 hours of work in that room at the very most. And then otherwise I can just enjoy it. Like, I mean, at this point, like most of the moving of animals I'm doing is just for the sake of pairing. Otherwise, everyone just stays put. They're pretty much chill with how I interact with them, as far as like using hemostats to dump their waters and spot clean and stuff, and just kind of sit there. And like, that's my venomous keeping. It's the least exciting thing that I do.
That's the thing that does make it hard about my nose. Like,
totally different. Yeah, you can't do what I do with your shit.
I can't spot clean. I can't get a water bowl. I can't do anything. And even that big ass king, the big ass Sumatran. And if Jade's still listening, she's going to write some dumb comment about it. But I don't remember what we were doing, if we were pulling a feeder, if we were putting a feeder in. But that big 11-foot king darted out of a gap in the glass like this thick and shot itself across the room. And it like goes to show you how you can't take any of that stuff for granted, because naturally you would have thought that snake is too big and a little too slow to pull something off like that. Kings are scary because of their size, but like once you deal with a lot of cobras, like a lot of the behavior is relatively predictable. Not that you should count on it, but
right,
for the most part it kind of is. So you don't expect one to kind of dart out like a mamba would.
Mm-hmm.
It's a half inch gap.
I'm not sure if I believe that, but
I
get
don't either, but for what it's worth. Stupid snake.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she came in the room and she's like, a king's out. And I'm like, you just fucking say a king is out? Like, the day that I make a mistake and a venomous thing gets loose, I'm probably done.
Yeah.
I've escape-proofed anything, but I would not tolerate that for myself.
Right.
And that's why, like, if I'm working in the room, I lock everything, I check it, I make her check it, and then I have 4 video cameras in that room as well. And sometimes I get paranoid in the middle of the night, and I go look at video and count the locks.
Yeah.
Just enough
Absolutely.
space to fit a pair. What does that say?
Of the GS through. What? Yeah, maybe you should take Steve's advice.
I even shut the glass of pinch dogs.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what really? All right, now the comments are going off the rails 2 hours in. Like,
She's not in the house with me, so she could be drinking. She's at her parents'.
Hey,
I don't know. I don't know what you're doing over there.
what realistically can one do to prepare themselves for like a lapid keeping as somebody who is starting from zero? Like, to me, it sounds like such a daunting precedent, even for me as someone who's interacted with like almost every kind of snake there is. Like, I would even be super nervous. I don't think I would interact with a mamba, except maybe like I think just I'll leave it at that. Like, I just don't think I would.
So like, it's hard. It's honestly hard to say, because the way that I got into venomous was the way that nobody should get into venomous, because I was 16 years old and I bought a cobra off of a table at Hamburg.
Nice.
And just rolled with it. And we didn't have social media or anything like that to really learn from. I had Reptiles magazines and I had the Hamburg show.
Yeah.
And I did some stupid things and made some mistakes. I've never been bitten. But in hindsight, like, to get into something like that now, like if it was something that you wanted to do, like the best way that you would have done it is we would have spent time together and you would have learned it through mentorship and studying it.
Right.
Like, I don't know that there really is a smooth way to be like, well, I've kept this species, I'm ready for a mamba now.
Sure.
I kind of did it that way, but it was just because of kind of like what you said, like hundreds of species of other things. Like, I just feel like I've learned so much that for me that felt like somewhat of a safe gamble, as long as I knew that I had the right safety tools to accommodate it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there that'll say like, like, oh, get like a really aggressive fast colubrid and stuff like that, and they're not wrong, because like, get a really pissed off black racer and try not to get bit. Like, that's not far off from what a mamba is, but the mindset is still not the same.
Right.
You can't fake it. It's like, you still know in your head that you're not afraid to get bit by that racer.
Yeah.
You're treating it like your life is on the line. You'll never have the same attention as you do when you have a black mamba in your hand.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the one day I was teaching Desiree about them, because she was looking at. So remember when I had those mambas with the mouth rot that came in.
I think this was post my time.
So that happens a lot with the mambas. They don't handle the importing very well. They tend to noose them, and it literally. I didn't realize it until I had a lot of mambas, because I had like 1 or 2, 3, 4 in the past, but it's actually called mamba mouth. Like, almost every mamba that comes in is susceptible to a mouth infection. And if you saw, did you see like that big pretty blackback Jamisons that I have? She's like 7. The one I had like hanging out in my closet.
Yeah.
You don't have access to that to put that on screen, do you?
If you ramble for a second, I can get it,
because that thing's really cool. But that was so bad. Like, its mouth was smashed. It was split open, and then it had a big abscess in its nose that I had to remove. And stuff like that, I think, is the more important part of keeping venomous, because you can be very hands off and you can use all your tools and you can be very safe. What do you do when something needs treatment like that?
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable handling or tubing or using your stuff, like, don't get me wrong, my heart races if I have to pin a mamba.
Yeah,
it does.
I'd hope so, because if it doesn't, there's something wrong with you.
But I was showing Desiree the one day, because she was kind of asking that same question. And I had her back up, and the example I had a Western green out, and it was starting to do the helicopter. Yeah, look at that thing.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite snakes that I have ever owned. Somebody told me it looked like a yellowtail crebo, and they're like, "Why don't you just do that instead of risking your life?" And I'm like,
kind of does, yeah.
I'd die doing something cool. But the one example I showed her was like the snake started to get out of control, and I just dropped it on the floor.
Yeah.
Work in a safe space where if an animal gets out of hand, it's not going to go somewhere that it can't be retrieved. And I'm like, I'm not on my best day, I'm never going to claim that I am faster than one of these snakes. I'm absolutely not.
For sure.
So if I feel like that animal is getting the upper hand, I just let it go.
Yeah.
And normally it just retreats into a corner. It's scared. And you go and you start that process over again.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, like it's honestly not that hard if you can keep a level head.
Sure.
You have the right tools, you do what you're capable of, and as soon as the snake does something that's more capable than you are, you let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she obviously was like, "Oh my God, you dropped it on the floor?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was
But like that's the kind of thing that you need to have just like drilled into your mind to the point of it being second nature, to where that split second decision to drop the snake is not one you can hesitate on.
Yeah.
Like, that needs to be made at the perfect time. And if you wait any longer, you might as well not drop the snake at all, because you're fucked.
You know what's funny? I don't think that, like, I could for a close friend, like if we were doing that at the farm, like we could. I'm sure that I could show you some things, but I am generally I don't think I would be very comfortable mentoring somebody actually.
Yeah.
Like just watching it in somebody else's hands, I'm like, I can't guarantee that you can make the same decisions I can, and I couldn't have it on my conscience if it went bad for you.
Yeah. I think especially with the lapids, and especially with lapids like mambas, taipans, and king cobras, man, I guess credit to anybody who does teach with those species, because like to teach somebody how to take care of little montane rattlesnakes is one thing, but not all venomous snakes obviously are equal. There's a huge spectrum. I'm very much on the low end of that spectrum in my collection. You're very much on the high end of that spectrum with your collection.
That's another thing that's cool when I mentioned like my collection versus Jade's, is because I really like the stuff that you keep.
Mm-hmm.
This is the stuff that I want to keep, and it demands a lot of space and a lot of things where like I can't keep it all. And
right.
She has some similar things, like some of the rattlesnakes. She's got a pygmy. She's got some cantills. We just got a timber rattlesnake and a cottonmouth, because she wants to do with GRS in Georgia. She wants to do some education things, so we need the natives.
Cool.
So it's like and we have an Eastern Diamondback, and I'm like, they're all really cool to have, but again, they're things that with the demands that it takes to safely maintain the elapids, I would not have been able to expand into those things.
Yeah, sure.
It's just like cool to be able to see and experience, but not need to be fully responsible for.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's where it's kind of tough to make those tough calls. But I think if you think about it, like, would you rather have that eclectic collection or what you have now? Like, let's say like doing both at the same time wasn't an option, you're probably going to pick what the thing that you have as that higher priority. And that's kind of where I'm at as well, where like for me, nothing, when I have like baby scrub pythons hatch, like I don't get that feeling from any other reptile, period.
Yeah.
So, and every time I'm like, why don't I just try to do this? And not like, I'm not ever going to only do scrub pythons, but it's like, what's the point of having 40 species when these 4 species make me happier than like the other 36 do?
I think backtracking a little bit, but I wonder if you can relate.
I'm below 40 now, but yeah, I'm right there.
When you started with the rattlesnakes, like, was there a time where like in the beginning of scrub keeping, like a big scrub would would swing at you and it would make you nervous?
It wouldn't even. This is what it was. So one of our favorite old buddies from Florida sent me a yearling maniquari that was like 6 feet long, and I got the bag and I'm like, this tub that I have ready for the snake is not going to work. And like, and I guess to put in perspective, the two of us are very different. You don't have that, like the gene that creates fear in a human, where I have excessive amounts of fear to an irrational level. So like 16-year-old me sees this, 6-foot scrub python come out of this bag when I'm expecting like a 2-foot scrub python. And I'm just like, I think I'm fucked. And like, and meanwhile, that animal ended up being like my favorite snake I've ever kept, the most chill animal ever, the sire of my first clutch. But like, for sure, there's been some moments. One moment that probably was my most like, okay, I may have overdone it here, was when I unpacked the big Kofiau in Indy, and he was mad. He Brock was in the room when I was unpacking him. I had like 2 hooks he was like wrapped on the bag real hard, and he struck at me.
He's got such reach, it's ridiculous.
He threw like a 6-foot strike and then slapped the ground, and the building shook. And we looked at each other like, did that just fucking happen? Like, and I'm just here like, am I actually capable?
Did we cast it on the Amethystina page, the one that had me and David with that snake outside? Because it made that thing look like the true 16 feet or whatever that it was.
I think by virtue of having it alongside cages, I officially measured that snake at like 14 feet. But nonetheless, that animal was a freaking giant. I'm looking through the page right now.
But the reason I asked about that is like, over time, you developed a level of calmness with that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So like, and I don't know where other than you saying I don't have a fear gene. I'm trying to think of like where that eventually evolved to make that into a good, look at that beast.
That's absolutely insane.
Make that into a good, so like we had the Eastern Diamondback was in an Exoterra, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know how when you swing that door open, it creates somewhat of a gap?
Yeah.
On the sides.
On the side, yeah.
So I don't know if we accidentally shut the door on this animal or if it found a way to just jam its tail in there, but its rattle was pinched in the door. And I opened the door and it flung out onto my lap. And for whatever reason, like, I was comfortable. Like, I was okay. I'm like, this is unfortunate. and I didn't have tools. So like I took a piece of, because I didn't intend to take the animal out. So like I didn't have tools. I'm like, let me just pop this door a little bit so that its tail can get free. So like I took a piece of cardboard and I scooped my hand under the back end of it and I just kind of moved them back in there. But I sit there and I'm like, there is some stuff that you just cannot be prepared for.
Yeah.
So if like you don't find a way to obtain or develop that natural, like if I had panicked, that thing would have bit me.
Sure.
Because it was obviously frightened.
Yeah.
Because Eastern Diamondbacks don't jump like that.
No, they're very confident snakes.
Yeah. I do love that one though, for as much as I say like it's neat to look at Jade's thing. Like that's an animal for me that like if we ever developed like a 6-7 foot Diamondback, like I'd be very proud of that animal.
Sure.
That's just the coolest beast of the.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. Like
remember that one that I had when I first moved to Indy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I gave that to Dylan, and he bred it twice now. There's babies right now, so I think we might actually might get a male from that litter to pair with this female that we have here.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing that any venomous keeper can have, and I don't know how to teach that. Other than like, that's why I related to you with scrubs, because you're probably going to say like nothing happened to you to get that. It was just time served.
Yeah.
And experience.
Yeah. Just like having animals take big swings at me and being like, all right, an animal that's this size in this kind of like position where it has its full potential of its strike range. Because like, you know, like a snake can be in a scrub can have like a body positioning where it's like, all right, you have a little bit of the front of your body to work with. And then they're fully positioned where they're like, you can throw 3/4 of your body if you want to. Like understanding where that animal can truly get in the blink of an eye and what behaviors lead up to that point. And like, but yeah, there's no way you can explain a lot of that. You can talk about it ad nauseum, but there's really only so much good that can really do as far as an actual like hands-on application, you know. Yeah, and I will definitely say without a doubt, you do not possess fear. It is not something that registers in your brain. That's definitely genetics.
It's kind of funny because like that thing that I sent you about my dad, right?
I don't know if I got that one. How recent?
Somebody commented on Facebook about like my dad and fighting.
Yeah.
People. And you're like, yeah, that's definitely in your genes.
So now it's coming back. I remember now. Yeah.
So like I almost relate that kind of the same. Like if there's anybody that's into like that kind of physical sport, is like I could teach you to fight, but it's never going to be the same until you take a punch in the face.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like until the real thing is there, like you can only be told so much.
Yeah.
Until you have to block a shot or take a swing or something like that. Like it's all kind of the same until you live it. But it's just I don't know as a teacher what that segue is.
Sure.
To take it to that level of something that dangerous. Like,
yeah,
I want to say that it's a matter of self-confidence and self-assessment, but if you leave it to the self-assessment of people in this hobby, that's going to lead to a lot of poor choices.
Yeah, and then that also probably just means that most people should not keep venomous in the first place, especially high bite risk species.
Alyssa, his kids don't have any fear either. Definitely genetics.
Yep, just more and more proof right in front of you. Yeah, I guess like the only thing that I can really relate to in any sort of way on the reptile side is like with the scrub pythons, but like for instance, like with Emmy, you know, getting him to the point where like last Wednesday he got out and put back that big ass Wamina that's like 11 feet long and not
my baby
camper. Yeah, your baby. And like
I tried so hard to take that snake from you.
Yes, you did.
Is he still just as orange?
He's still his old self. He's still looking freaking incredible.
Man.
Hopefully
there's no way to know if those babies will turn that way. Waminas take forever to show.
Yeah.
I think they take longer than the Barnecks to give you an idea of where they're going to be.
Probably so. Yeah.
How's Emmy's little one that I gave him?
Good. Yeah. Doing well. Still has it. Still doing well. He got a male from that clutch to put with it. So he's got that pair now.
Man, I want one of his, but I'm poor.
Well, I have one male left from that clutch.
Shut the hell up.
But like with that example, you know, that I guess to get to the point where he could, and obviously we're not talking about a venomous here, but you know, a snake that you don't want to take a bite from, and that individual would give you that bite if you let it. Came from, I guess, just like experiencing that behavior or scrub behavior with smaller individuals.
Have you taken a bad bite?
No. not like a bad bite. The worst bite I probably took was from like a 8.5 foot male Halmahera. But it was a close range, like fist here, snake here, and my hand was like bruised up for a few weeks. But the biggest scrub I took a bite from was the female Aru that gave me the clutch. She bit me on the back of my calf through sweatpants. I didn't. It didn't hurt at all. It just was weird because she was still out and I was still like interacting with her, and I felt the blood running down my leg and under my pants, but like no pain with that bite whatsoever. I think primarily given that I had pants on.
I don't think I've had a bad scrub bite, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not really even a bad snake bite. It's all been lizards.
Yeah.
The worst scrub bite I've seen though was David, because Rain grabbed his hand.
Okay.
And put holes through 3 of his fingernails, and then wrapped a coil around him, and it bent his thumb back to his arm.
Not good. Yeah. No, I don't love the sound of that, and also make me concerned considering I just used the 18-inch hemostats to feed my adults.
I hand feed Hannibal still.
Yeah, you're see, this is exactly case in point of the no fear. But yeah, seriously, like I think the only snake non-venomous that like I get aside from a huge berm retic anaconda rock python, like a true giant snake, that I think would probably be like a really bad detrimental bite would be like a big emerald.
Yeah.
Other than that, there probably isn't really like a super bad non-venomous snake bite that's not worse than like a tree monitor bite.
Did you see the tricolor bite that I reposted recently?
I think I did.
Because I think that was like one of the best demonstrations I've seen of what they classify as varandid venom. Because of the way that spread through my whole hand and it wasn't an infection. But sometimes lizards, I'll still do stupid stuff with lizards, but sometimes they give me a second thought. That Yakari caiman that got me, my pinky's still dead.
Really?
Yeah. It moves with the other fingers, but it won't move on its own.
Wow. Yeah, like every now and then I kind of have like moments where things kind of get put in perspective where I'm like, this is all the crazy shit that I used to do or like be around, and I'm totally unscathed. Like when should I cut my losses? Or like when should I should quit while I'm still ahead? Because like all like the croc monitors and the crocodilians and shit, like
that comment from Steve is for real. Did you see that bite to Dave Barker?
Maybe. What was it? Something that was like put out recently, or just something that you would need to be there like from a while back to have seen? I've seen some pretty atrocious
resurface, but this particular one goes back quite a while. But it was like
hospital thought
it wasn't even a long bite, but it was deep and it was dragged.
No, thank you.
It was gnarly.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I mean, seeing pictures and hearing stories of like bad Berman retic bites, it's like, oh, he was taking shit off the snake's head. Oh, and the thing that's even crazier about that, if he was taking shed off that animal's head, it's an animal that was at least somewhat trustworthy. Because if you knew that snake was like a monster, you would have just waited for the next shed. So the fact, at least that's what I would do. So the fact that could have even been the scenario means that animal was at least trustworthy enough to attempt to take shed off of its head. That's terrifying. So, yeah, I'm good off that. Not for me. But I guess, more power to anybody who's putting themselves in the line of fire like that.
I don't have the energy for big snakes ever again. I just won't. I love anacondas. I love stuff like that. I think it'd be really cool to actually give them a cage that they truly deserve.
Yeah.
In captivity. But I just, the energy of lifting those big, heavy assholes out and dragging them around, I just don't want to. When they pee in a cage, it's a pool instead of I just don't want to.
Yeah. The cleanup, like the biggest snake that I've personally owned was that Kofiau. But the biggest one that I've worked with was back at the Wildlife Discovery Center outside of Chicago. We had a berm that was legitimately all of about 17 and a half feet long. And not, well-mannered snake too. But when that thing would explode, it was a catastrophe. And it took generally like 2 people to transport that, like 2 strong people or 3 to 4 not quite as strong people to move that snake anywhere. Just like the practicality of that from a keeper standpoint, and not even that, the cost of feeding an animal like that.
It's like the last time I talked to Amanda Bowe, and even the last time that I went to Jim Hardesty's place, both of them have over 100 adult retics. How?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I just don't have that energy. I wish I did. I'd probably put the energy somewhere else still.
Yeah.
But I don't have that energy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I guess if you're so accustomed to doing it like the 2 of them are.
I wish that collectively we held on to at least one of those anacondas, though, because I really love that female that we
yeah.
It was Dan Leewell that produced them, and I took all the babies and sold them. But I kept some back. So I think I sold you 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I kept 1 or 2, and then I sold them. And Robert Fox has the adult female. But
okay, cool.
It just would have been like one. Like, I don't have it in me for big snakes, but it would have been cool to have just like one big badass.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, even like that cage that big Kofiau was in, like that doesn't fit anywhere in my house.
Yeah, that's the other way I feel.
So
I look like the anacondas, and like Megan Kelly will punch me in the face because we joke about this all the time. But like, I can't get behind the 8-foot cage in the water dish.
Yeah, especially when you see them.
Like, I want to do something. I'd want to do something more.
Yeah, like the enclosure at Reptilandia with the green iguana. We've been at this for a while. Green anacondas. Like,
dude, the croc monitor cage at Reptilandia makes me want to give my croc monitors away.
Yeah, it's
whatever I've done right. It is not right enough compared to what they're doing there.
It's absolutely insanity. Like that enclosure is, probably the most incredible reptile display in the United States for any particular.
And I still haven't been there.
Really?
Yeah, but I've just seen enough videos and pictures and talking to Ari, and I don't know what the hell Kai's doing down there right now.
Yeah, it's that exhibit is just next level. Like the most impressive. Oh, there's a lot of impressive parts, but this like 25-foot tall stonework waterfall that they can climb up and down. Just like, find another exhibit that has anything comparable to that. Like, it doesn't exist. So,
and he really and obviously because there's not really an alternative with that environment, but like he really, like all of us that have bred the crocs in captivity, we've had some degree of nesting issues. Whether they lay them outside the nest or it's very shallow or superficial, or like Kilo was laying them in a tree stump because she didn't like the tote that we gave, like,
Yeah.
but he got the natural nesting down, like with the way that the female was just like digging at the base of those trees in that
Yeah.
giant enclosure. Like, I feel like they needed those choices.
Yeah, sure. I could definitely see that being the case.
And I don't talk to him a ton, so I don't know what like his long-term plans are, but I think they'll naturally just kind of breed forever in there without a lot of effort now that he's.
I'd have to imagine so.
I just feel like it would be hard to. I guess you're in there dealing with him and looking at him every single day. So but in my head, I'm like, I'm never going to find where she nested.
Yeah, for real. Like,
I guess
just,
maybe you got video in there, and one day she's skinny. You go backtrack and see where she was.
yeah. Or if like she has one particular test site, that's the one that
She's
she
been
always
digging.
goes back to. Yeah. Because wasn't it kind of close by to a heat source where she was laying too?
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess like promoting a couple of spots is like the most ideal nesting. Because I want to say that one of the early concepts for that enclosure was like elevated nest sites, but obviously the animal hasn't utilized, if they even did that, which I'm not 100% sure on, but you know, she took right to that nesting on the ground level. So, which I guess to me it kind of makes sense. Like an animal as big as a croc monitor nesting at an elevated
What's
point.
it really going to find up there that?
But like, because I think with tree monitors that's been observed is like elevated nesting, and I think what Chris Aplin's doing on his farm is those kind of like hollow branch nest boxes essentially for the tree monitors.
So that last blue tree clutch that we got, and that last Prasinus clutch that we got before I left, were nested in elevated boxes, and they nested them very well.
Okay.
Versus in the ground. And the blue trees didn't hatch, but the Prasinus did. It looked like I saw after I left that eventually they did.
Oh, okay.
And they kind of bred, kind of on the road
historically,
even before I got there. But I remember that even though those eggs were good, those lizards tend to kind of scatter them. Remember?
Yeah.
They really liked the elevated nesting, and I just wrapped some heat tape around the outside of the box, and it worked really well.
Cool.
I've never tried to elevate a croc nest.
I just like to, and I'm not obviously super familiar with the like.
If my croc nest was elevated, everyone's arms would probably be in original condition.
Well,
I'm waiting for the comment. Did you get that just now?
I think
Jade's broken arm.
Oh, I thought you meant like the animals. I was like, wait, what? I'm trying to put together.
Yeah, if the nest was up in the air, we wouldn't have dropped the nest box on her arm and broke it.
Oh my god.
That was a very expensive breeding process.
For fucking real. Yeah, I remember hearing that news and I'm like, of course now. Oh my gosh.
So those the first two croc monitors matched up to the value of the medical bills.
Yeah. That's how this goes sometimes. Yeah. Shit. So maybe the elevated nest box or a built-in would be the way to go.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like, if you were to, if and when you're going to try the crocs again, do you have any new techniques you want to use, or would you kind of just try to replicate that first breeding as closely as possible?
The breeding itself, I wouldn't change anything. I feel like I nailed it pretty well with the vitellogenesis and the feeding regimen, and because there was a time where that female could eat a bag of chicks a day,
right?
And I think we got that pretty spot on. The only thing that I would do different was the nesting, and the one thing that I had wanted to do with Kilo was I wanted to remove the nest box and substrate the whole bottom of that stock tank that was at the bottom of that cage.
Yeah.
And I don't know what my plan was going to be for heating to create a gradient across, but nobody's had luck with boxes. So I wanted just ground for them to be able to dig and find what they like.
Interesting.
Because even my better clutches, like some of them were laid on top of the box. Like some of them were laid like 2 inches deep. The first one, she didn't test dig at all. The second one she did, but didn't like the conditions, I think, because that's why it was up so high.
Yeah.
So it just didn't feel like, even though they worked out, like it just didn't feel it didn't feel like they loved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's something I want to try different, but I don't know what that answer is, because I think the kilos cage is also theoretically too small.
Probably so, yeah.
If we were going to repair in that cage. So if I were to go build a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 12 cage for a pair of Crocs, I don't know how you give that. That would almost have to get on the scale of what Ari's doing. Not that, I mean, that cage is much bigger than 10 by 10, 10 by 12, but
yeah,
you'd have to literally provide like a landscape like he did to.
Yeah. Like like have like a side or the back of the cage, like a retaining wall of like 3 feet of dirt with like multiple heat spots or whatever, just to like give them a lot of different options or something.
Yeah, and who was that guy that? Who's that other guy that bred Crocs that I don't like? I was going to try to say that nicer, but I don't really care. What's his name? Ian? Remember Ian? He had that like shop in Ohio.
Maybe was he the first guy that year to get him to go?
No, that was that dead guy. That was his actual name.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm not sure who this person is you're talking about. Steve says Ian.
Ian, yeah, that Croc nested in like leaves and mulch, which I thought was very weird. But she like, she really used it. So I'm like, I don't know what.
Yeah,
you know, it's I feel like sometimes there's things that we look at and we just like inevitably overthink them and didn't really need to.
Yeah.
So really, maybe the answer is just a bigger box with more gradient heat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would just like to play with that because that was the one thing that I felt like didn't go perfect.
Okay. And from like an incubation standpoint, would you keep it the same?
The biggest problem I had with those eggs was, like, have you ever had eggs from scrubs or anything else that absorb too much moisture and you were able to put like a sponge or like some dry moss on them and it kind of like pulls it back out?
Yeah.
It does not do that with the Croc eggs. When they get moisture in them, they get thick, they get hard, and it never goes away. And I lost a lot of them to that. So I feel like I would start the incubation almost, because sometimes like you also have the other direction where like your eggs start to dry out and you panic a little bit.
Right.
Like, I would almost rather start out that way, a little bit lighter on the humidity, and see what it can really tolerate and add the humidity in as I need it instead of ever trying to back it down.
Yeah.
Because most of the eggs that I lost, I think got oversaturated.
Yeah.
And one of them even burst. It got like a little pinhole and the yolk started coming out. And matter of fact, I saved that egg. I don't remember who told me to do it, but I glued it. I glued it closed. And it hatched.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Huh.
But then I had a couple that like died in the egg too, so I feel like they developed, but like that, I don't know if that egg got too thick and they couldn't. This is where science comes in, and I'm too stupid, so I don't really know how they breathe in the eggs, what the oxygen exchange is or how that works.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like if they're that thick, does it not? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. Interesting, but that there could be something there if you've seen a pattern with that. So,
and it's weird because like they didn't mold from getting too wet. They just got thick and they developed embryos and babies and then they died.
I feel like that's almost worse.
Yeah, right.
Gives you all the hope, and then at the end, it's like, haha, fuck you.
The only thing that was cool was that one baby that was fully formed that died, and I propped his mouth open, and that thing still had monster fucking teeth. That's a baby stuck in an egg. Like,
damn.
Ron St. Pierre bred crocs once, like a while ago.
Yeah.
Like, this regime of the couple of us that bred crocs, like we weren't the first, right? You know, it was just like it had kind of been a while.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
But Ron did it, and he had a hatchling out of the egg give him stitches.
Yeah, I remember hearing that story.
Yeah, like that was wild. And I got bit by a couple of the babies, and it wasn't pleasant, but I didn't get anything like that.
Yeah.
But I also like put my finger in their mouth because I wanted to see what it felt like.
And you claim to be somewhat normal. You're like, I don't even know what it is about me. I mean,
I still have a little hole in my pinky from forcing it into that crab claw on the beach.
Really? Wow. Yeah, the your reputation of being the guy who gets bit by everything has definitely preceded you, and is it's very warranted. So,
but I can't be the guy who gets bit by everything with what I keep now. So stop it.
That's very true. That's very true. No, I mean, I think Owen is credited for a lot of that, because like almost any time, like when I was first listening to NPR, like when I was like in high school, whenever you would come up, it would always be just like, this one time I saw Chris took a white lip out and it bit him 25 times on his arm. He's laughing at it. And like, you know, when we were working together and I would mention your name, people would be like, oh, isn't he like kind of crazy? I'm like, I guess so, kind of. So, oh man, yeah, funny stuff. Well,
hey, do you how far do you? I don't understand where you are in. Is there herping that's good where you are, or do you go out to like?
No, you'd like 15 minutes from my house.
Wow, how far are you from Alex?
Panda Alex?
Yeah.
Like 4.5 hours.
Because he is like hardcore been trying to get me to come out there to go.
Yeah.
And I've never been anywhere where herping is like actually good. I've never had really good success. So I've been contemplating the trip, whether it's to you, to him, to both of you. I don't know who did what and what there is to find, but it sounds cool.
It's definitely worthwhile, especially in the fall after it's been raining throughout the summer.
I asked him how late, and he's like as late as mid-October. He's like, I like September, early October.
Yeah. September seems to be the like herping month out here, where it's just conditions have come through. Because like even in a few days, we're gonna get a bit of a cool down where it's already a bit cooler here, where we're in like the low 90s, but we're getting like low 80s. Got some rain overnight last night, so conditions are getting good. But yeah, interesting question. So has anyone sexed croc monitors in the egg, like what they've done with Komodos? The LA Zoo took blood from the Komodo egg and tested it successfully. Sexed the Komodos that way.
It's funny because somebody in Europe asked me that question, and it was something that they were looking into trying to duplicate over there, and I can't remember who it was or if they ever did it.
Okay.
Because I wanted to, and then somebody was trying to figure out how to DNA sex the babies too, even after they hatch, and I don't know if they ever went anywhere with it.
I think that's what one of our sponsors is doing, raregeneticsinc. But I'm probably not as up on it as I should, but I think you need the sheds of like the parents and siblings, and then they get the markers, like the sex markers.
Ben has asked me to send him croc monitor sheds, and I never did, so I'm not a very good supporter of them.
Well, that probably would have helped the cause of sexing the crocs via the sheds.
My very first Halmahera that I ever had, I sold to Ben, and I regretted it forever for no particular reason other than why would you sell a Halmahera?
Yeah, true. This is actually an interesting anecdote from Alex, is that the zoo got the idea from the Condor program. That's pretty damn cool. I feel like I would be first of all, I have no concept on how one draws blood from an egg, but I would be so terrified.
Is there something unique about the Komodo that made that the one that they did it with, or is it just the presence of what a Komodo is had that scientific venture in it?
Let's see what else.
Bigger eggs, easier to draw. I don't know.
Yeah, because maybe you like put a light up to it to see a vein and put a small gauge needle and just try to pull a little out. Do you do it maybe late on in incubation so that the chances of screwing up the baby are, I don't know. I've never even heard of this before right now, so I'm very curious as to the thought process here.
You should invite Steve out there with you so that you can video him collecting Gila monsters.
No. I will not be a part of that, but thank you for the offer.
Komodos are so. What the heck was that zoo? Tampa Zoo. Kurt is on the board of directors of Tampa Zoo. Kurt is one of the guys that runs Crocfest.
Okay.
And after we finished Crocfest, we got to go behind the scenes up there when they bred the Komodos. It's always funny when you go behind the scenes of zoos because you expect them to have this high-tech stuff, and like they have these cages that are like plywood, like barely holding together with Komodo dragons. And what the fuck is this? And I'm like, it's so cool because they wouldn't let me touch them, but I just got to be like up real close with these baby Komodos, and I'm like, this is just one of the most fascinating freaking things.
Yeah, for sure. No, it is funny sometimes being behind the scenes at zoos, being like, oh, like we're the same. They just have a much more expensive facility and on-staff vets. Like,
I forget where I went, like
with some zoos, some definitely.
Like St. Augustine, like their whole back room is just a whole bunch of old yellow Neodacia cages.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. But like they had really cool stuff and really well cared for, but like I expected it to be like high tech, and I'm like, it's this stuff. But I'm like, you know what? I would take back all my old Neodacia cages if I could. They're ugly as shit, but they're lightweight and they have rounded corners, so you're never digging stuff out of a rigid corner.
Yeah, I still have. I don't know if you remember. Okay, here we go. We got the comment from Alex. So exactly, they find blood vessel on the egg wall. He says he has a whole article about this. Oh, well, hell yeah, that'd be awesome to see. I guess that makes sense, but that would be how you would do it. But damn, I guess there are plenty of Komodo dragons and Komodo dragon eggs floating around in AZA to where if you screw one up, they threw away 100 that year or whatever. So, all right, someone's got to. Whoever's serving Steve needs to cut him off. He's getting a little too rowdy.
You know, I thought that the hype of perennies was slightly overrated until I got to go in the cage with ties, and they're as cool as people think they are.
Yeah, I've interacted with the Parenti one time, and what was so shocking to me was like the head to body ratio of that animal.
Right?
Like, is this thing's head bigger than its torso? Like, and it was probably with tail like a 5-foot lizard maybe. So like not a giant Parenti, but probably reproductive, and like. Still never. I don't think there's another lizard that you can really even compare them to. The thing was so crazy.
Yeah, that thing was cool. I didn't think I was going to be as as impressed until we got in there with it.
Yeah. I guess this is an interesting late night thought. Like, what reptile do you think you would have that reaction to now of everything that you've been around, like to put hands on with something that you would think you would be like, holy shit, how is this happening?
Man, that's a tough one.
I don't know if I've ever really thought about this.
It's funny because I'm like infatuated with like Komodos, but to be honest, like I hate to say this, is such a prestigious animal, but a big Komodo is kind of boring in a sense.
I mean, it's like a water monitor turned up, like like all the like, what's the 2K thing? Like all the sliders up to like 100. Like, you know, they're basically just like a water monitor, like with every aspect of it turned up as to the fullest extent. They're amazing, but like I feel like from behavior standpoint, you probably would get more nuance out of a croc monitor than a Komodo in certain ways.
Fucking Steve.
This guy, he's just going off.
No,
man.
he just texted me something, and I can't put it in here, but I'll send it to you later.
Okay. Fucking Steve. No self-control tonight. Man. Because like, okay. For anyone who's not
the blind one, because that's kind of mean.
For anyone who's not watching this live right now, they probably think the show has just totally gone off the rails.
Cincinnati had a blind Komodo for a while.
Oh, okay.
That's it would eventually find its food, but it would run around like it's challenged. So
that's funny. So I'm trying to think about this because I feel like some of the ones that I would immediately go to would be crocodilians.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and I've been trying to find the name of this damn guy.
But the thing is, like, okay, a gharial would probably do it, where I'd be like, holy shit. But like a Temistoma is similar enough to an African slender-snouted croc and a freshwater croc that I've already got plenty of time and experience with.
Jeff Schmidt. Do you know Jeff Schmidt?
No.
Jeff Schmidt, I don't even want to say gives me a run for my money of stupid things. I think that he does some things that would scare me to do, but I'd be willing to do them. He actually goes diving in like infested Nile croc waters.
Oh, okay. Seems smart.
And you might remember him because he leaked the video that he wasn't supposed to leak of people diving with the Nile crocs, and a Nile comes up and rips somebody's leg off.
Okay, I think I saw that one.
He was taking that video, but and you know what? I think I would do it. I think I would do it. But the one thing that scares me is he's doing it in these rivers where there's like no visibility.
Yeah.
Like
murky as hell.
I'm not comfortable with that, like even in the Everglades.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's like a mind fuck for me. Like I just imagine.
I think it's a very rational reaction to that.
I imagine like I'm just gonna get bit by like a giant turtle or something. I don't.
Yeah, going into water that you can't see and you know there are deadly things in there, having an aversion to that is very normal. I hope you understand.
But I think I would still do it.
You probably would. I
think that's what we do. And I don't like I've been to Terry's place once,
and
just seeing like one of those big salties came up and attacked the cage. And to me, like that would be on my pinnacle of things to like go in a cage with that.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, even from the croc experience that we had, like that wasn't real croc.
Oh yeah,
experience
sure. No, it
with the
wasn't.
environment that it was. So I'll be honest in my shortcomings of I'm not totally competent in what I would do with a large crocodilian. But
Me either. Yeah.
that would be that lifer for me though. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I could definitely see that being the one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. And I guess it's kind of a cool situation to be in to like really try to think about what
Right.
like this holy shit would be, and like it's hard
This
to come
is
up
not at a place. This is a wild. He's just outside.
Nice. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, what a crazy life in this reptile world, man.
That's just wild with a.
Yeah. Nah.
There was one picture I was trying to find because it was super murky water, and it is what terrified me. But I can't find it for some reason.
Yeah. No, there are definitely levels of this.
It was like brown, black, dark water, and there's a Nile croc with its mouth open, and you can see the light shining from the other side, and him videoing it from this side, and it's got to be like a 12-foot plus croc, and it's just like the eeriest thing that I've ever seen. And he's had him like come up and like bite the lens of the camera. And I know it's not reptiles, but I think I would be on the same boat with doing like a free dive with sharks.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always, every time you say that, I'm like, nothing about me is intrigued in the slightest by that.
But I'm not like, I don't have the fear of it, but I have enough intelligence to realize that I'm not really educated on shark behavior.
Yeah.
So like I don't want like I don't mind taking risk, but I like my risks to be calculated.
Yeah. Sure.
And I don't think that they could be calculated with big crocs or sharks. Like I would need some
guidance first.
That's definitely like a pinnacle experience in my mind.
Yeah. Like I feel like another one that's on that level, but at the same time on the level of I have no idea what the hell I would do would be like cassowaries.
Yes.
Those animals are so amazing, but like literally like actually velociraptors in the modern time. Like that's actually what that animal is.
If I was ever going to make a mistake with an animal, I would love to have my heart just kicked out of my chest by an enormous dinosaur bird.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Huh.
Where did I go where they... Doesn't what's his name in Florida have some?
What you were talking about, Blake?
No. He was one of our customers for a long time. The Perfect Pets guy.
Oh no, he had emus. Not
he had emus.
Yeah, Jeff Schrock.
Yeah.
No cassowaries, but yeah, some big ass emus for sure. Yeah, those things are like alligators to crocodiles with cassowaries.
Jeff's place is cool, man.
Oh
the
yeah,
and the kangaroos and the.
Oh, if there's anything like that I would want to have, it would be capybaras. Those things are so freaking cool.
Now I've seen some people that have had some that were social. Jeff's really kind of weren't. They were kind of timid and would run from you. And he said one or two of them actually weren't that friendly, which I could imagine they're wild animals. But I've seen like Steven Brazil had some that were like super like engaging, and that looks super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially like for me, I grew up with guinea pigs, like a bunch of them. That's just like
shit!
It's a mammoth guinea pig. So yeah, capybaras are so cool. I think they were just like chilling like at the side of the pool at Jeff's house, just standing there, just.
It's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. They're giant turkey dinosaurs, the cassowaries. Just the fact that an animal like that still exists is just so insane to think about.
Right?
like most of the animals that were similar to that have been gone for so long, and yet cassowaries are still a thing, just terrorizing Australia. So, well, shoot, we're gonna eclipse the 3-hour mark on this episode. It's kind
Oh
of
man,
it's kind of crazy. Does it feel like it?
no, it doesn't. I would not listen to myself talk for 3 hours. What the hell are you guys still doing?
Well, everyone did tonight, and then a lot more people are going to be listening to that after the fact. So, yeah, this was quite the live chat tonight as well. Thank you to everybody who has been a part of the episode. I guess before we wrap, is there anything else you want to go over while we're still here?
No, I think we got it all.
I think we did too. Well, once again, man, thanks for being here tonight. I'm glad we were finally able to do the episode, and I think it was full of some tomfoolery, but also some pretty important conversation as well. So there's a lot of really good stuff to have derived from this episode.
Yeah, man, appreciate you having me. I thought it was. I had that stuff on my mind for a long time, but it was never stuff that I really felt that comfortable talking about. And then like a switch just kind of hit, and I'm like, I don't care what anyone thinks about me, and then I also think that this could be valuable to other people. And then I still really would have never thought about putting it on a podcast until we were like, because when I messaged you, I'm like, I feel like getting on a podcast. I'm like, I just feel like chatting. Like, I just want to be back in the. I don't care what we talk about. Like, I just kind of want to.
Yeah.
Just do something.
Oh, for sure. No, like being out of the mix for a while makes you want to get back into the mix.
Yeah.
Because I had that where like for a long time I was just kind of just like remove myself from the community, was kind of just doing my own thing, and like you realize how important that was to you when you're not really like actively a part of it at any point. So,
and the one thing that I actually did for a minute that I didn't think about in this, that I feel like everybody kind of struggles to do, well, we all talk about it at time to time. I did kill social media for like a solid 2 months. Like I took the app off my phone.
Okay.
And I feel like that disconnect kind of helped me get my thoughts together, and is kind of partially what made me more open when I came back to it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even though a lot of like people talk about how like the social media is a lot of negativity and this, that, and the other, and that doesn't ever really bother me. I don't pay attention to that. But even the positive things, like some of it, like the constant feed of information, especially if you're trying to figure out your own situation, like it's overstimulating.
Sure.
And I feel like that break to focus on myself and not worry about what the hell anybody else was doing was kind of what makes some of those decisions. But then it felt like kind of refreshing to be back, and I think that's what kind of made me want to get on a show again. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very valuable to anybody who's can kind of relate to where you're at or were for one reason or another. That there's kind of this potential chronological chain of events you can go through to kind of bring yourself back out of it. Because not for different reasons, but I've definitely been there before, and I've talked about it on here, of like having that full on burnout with the animals, to where like you're still doing it, you're still taking care of them, but you're really not enjoying it, and it's a scary place to be, especially because like I feel like anyone who's young, either just young in the hobby or new to the hobby, there's probably a point where you're like, well, that'll never happen to me.
Yeah, right.
And then if it does, it's like it was almost more of a crisis from the fact that it even happened to you to begin with, and the fact that it's happening. It's like, how the hell did I let myself get to this point? So, whatever that takes to bring that back, I think is very valuable to talk about. Also to like make sure that people who are feeling that kind of way know they're not alone as well. But yeah, I mean, I really appreciate you, being that vulnerable and talking about that stuff, because I think it is super valuable.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Well, if anyone wants to keep up with what you're doing, I think, let's see, your most recent post on Instagram was last year, but but if anyone wants to follow you, where can they find you?
Just my name on Facebook.
Yeah.
I was only really I only got into the IG stuff and like we were trying to promote the scrubs or then like promoting Cold Blooded Cafe at the time and stuff like that. And for me, like that's just extra social media that I just don't.
Yeah, no, you're definitely Mr. Facebook. That's who you are.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, for me, I do this every week. I almost feel like it's stupid sometimes, but I'm on Instagram, Scrub Shepherd. I'm also on Facebook just under my name, Kush Reptile on MORPH Market, where I have a few animals listed right now. Also, same on YouTube, where I drop kind of a vlog style video every week. And then, of course, I'm here every single Wednesday on the podcast.
I remember we called you such a bitch when you changed your name to Scrub Shepherd, and then it actually stuck.
It did stick. Yeah. Been there for quite a while, probably longer than it should have, but we're still doing it. So, well, Chris, once again, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being on the episode. And yeah, I really, really appreciate it, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'll catch you all back here next week for a new episode.